Eagles. Deservedly so. They won the Super Bowl, and it's the new league year. You know, opening day is in less than 2 weeks.
It is.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
It's not season starts tomorrow. I totally expect the Eagles to still make moves. I kind of expected all of this. I think the only thing I'm surprised by is losing both Slay and Rodgers.
I think there's a reasonable approach to say, I trust Howie can find a cheaper option, and hopefully they'll be able to give us the kind of production we got after those guys last year.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Friday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, happy football Friday, championship Friday, and maybe for today, a Phillies Friday.
A little bit of Phillies Friday, 13 days out from the opener.
Yeah, we are less than 2 weeks away, which is unbelievable. I mean, thank you, Philadelphia Eagles, for a couple of things. For the Super Bowl and
we appreciate
happiness
that.
and joy. But also the drama that has sort of began since the new league year started. And what I'm trying to get at is you brought us to opening day pretty much.
See, that's the way I look at it, too, is the Phillies, a kind group of people.
Yeah, you know, there's
that took care of us.
There's other teams in town that need to thank the Philadelphia Eagles because they have kind of taken the...
laid cover for them, as you might say.
They've taken the burn off of them a little bit, and we will at some point talk about the Philadelphia 76ers today. Today's going to be a fun day because we have like a bunch of topics that will take us in many different directions. We always have like a main topic, but we have some fun stuff that we're going to get into. And I tweeted one out yesterday because I was amazed with what I saw, but we'll get to that later. So opening day, 13 days away. We are less than 2 weeks away. You heard something being discussed on the best show ever the other day.
Yeah, Tyrone brought it up with Ricky, and Silvana was also getting into it. Mm-hmm. And they have a different opinion than you guys have. All three of them. They agree. They're with me.
They all agree?
There has been, they all agreed. There has been there's no buzz for this Philly season. There's no buzz. There is usually much more like chatter. And I think the Eagles have a ton to do with that. But once the parade's over, you have a team with like the second highest payroll in baseball and all these things going for you and all this star talent. And I believe people sort of need the paddles, need to be jump-started on their excitement. We're going to the opening weekend. My wife and I are going down Friday after the show.
Seats. Hold on. I was amazed. I think it was. When does the schedule come out? Like May?
As soon as
not May.
schedule,
sorry, I'm thinking of
the schedule
terms.
came out during the season.
So it was like May. Yeah.
And no. It comes out like later.
Later. Okay. Whatever it was, John's sitting. I'm next to him. It's like the GW Finns when he's making the reservations on the air. He goes, "Well, I just bought my opening day tickets in DC." I was like,
Saturday.
I was like, "Whoa, yeah, Saturday opening weekend tickets." I was thoroughly impressed that you did.
Hey, it's tough to get tickets to a Nationals game.
Yeah.
We're even in the Nationals Club.
That's awesome.
The little thing where you get to sit in the nice seats and they have all the booze and all the food.
You had to pay $5
And by the way,
bucks, probably.
it was really affordable.
Yeah, I know. I imagine.
It wasn't as affordable as you think it is, but it was really affordable.
They're begging for people to come.
But it was, and plus the weather could be crappy.
Could be.
Might not be nice, even though the weather seems to have taken a turn. But we did that because I'm very excited for a Phillies season. And when my wife said to me last year during the year, I came home one random summer night, and she said to me, for the first time ever in our marriage, what time are the Phils playing tonight?
That's awesome. Man.
She never, when we lived in Atlanta, and I would watch them on the MLB package.
Yeah.
She never won. She'd read a book. She never cared. Up here, she's gotten into the Phillies.
Yeah.
So I said
great.
that would be a fun trip. So we're going to do the Capitol tour Saturday morning.
Yep.
White House tour late Saturday morning. Phillies game Saturday afternoon.
And you have a reservation for the Capitol tour.
Already done. Yes, I'm not storming it. But if they tell me that I don't have a reservation, I'll storm it.
So the Eagles obviously are, I believe, a huge part in this in terms of the lack of buzz. Like you said, I mean, there was a parade. When was the parade?
It was
3 weeks ago?
No, it was it was a month ago.
Okay, so
a month ago today.
All right, a month ago.
Exactly.
Happy anniversary
4 weeks ago.
from your checklist, from your bucket list
no, it was the greatest.
Show of
it was
doing
the greatest.
A parade day show. So it's been a month since the parade. But again, the NFL, they are just a genius of a league because the Super Bowl ends, and even though we obviously went to the very top with our team, there are still people that love football outside of just their favorite team. So people watch the Super Bowl even though their team might not be in it. We do it every single year, even if the Eagles aren't in the Super Bowl.
Sure we do.
And then you blink and trades are happening. You blink and it's legal tampering. You blink and free agency begins. And this week...
Well, Combine was literally 1 week off than the Combine.
Yeah.
So we had 1 week from the parade, a full week, and then it was the Combine week.
Yeah, Combine.
So,
and
we had that.
You start seeing some moves where players were being re-signed because players were able to seek out trades. And now in the NFL... trades do happen all the time.
Because of the cap going up every year.
Right, exactly.
Gives teams more flexibility.
And so the NFL kind of does this for their own sake, and it may take away from other sports. So we ask you today, kind of a 1A, 1B sort of question. 1A is, do you have buzz for the Philadelphia Phillies, which is less than 2 weeks away? Opening day is 13 days from now. And if you don't, this is the 1B sort of question if you did answer no for part one. Is it because of the Eagles Super Bowl hangover that you're still riding the high of the birds and right after the season ended for the Eagles, which was on February 9th, all of a sudden it's Combine, parade day, Combine.
Which was a month ago. 4 weeks. You've had 4 weeks to recover from the parade.
Trades, free agency, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're still in the middle of the first week of free agency because it just started on Wednesday. It was just 2 days ago. So is it because of an Eagles Super Bowl hangover, or did the Phillies do this to themselves with the past failures, collapses, disappointing ends?
You know the answer.
2022 is disappointing, not failure.
2022 was absolutely not a failure.
Yeah, that was just a disappointing end.
2023 was abysmal.
It was a failure, or I would say collapse 23.
Collapse.
Last year was failure. Losing in the first round, the New York Mets was straight up failure after you won 95 games.
Only year I would put the word failure with is last year.
Yeah, I mean, it was
like
horrible.
2023 was painful. But you're in the NLCS Game 7.
Right. So you
can't paint that season as a failure.
You went disappointment, collapse to failure. 22, 23,
so in other
24.
words, on the escalator of life, we're going down.
Yeah. So
and remember the highest
that part of it.
And remember the highest part of that ride was honestly 8 weeks of good baseball. They got hot late, and
as you know,
and then everything happened.
That may all that matters.
It can be. But that's all that they did.
So is that part of it? Now, I've said this before, and Connor, you and I are on the same page with enjoying the baseball season, right? Like, they're going to have a ridiculous pitching staff. It's going to be a lot of fun. But there are going to be people.
Don't you think we're all on that page?
No.
Absolutely not.
Wait a minute, whoa.
There will be. I'm not saying you.
No, but you guys seem to be painting it like you believe the fan base there's an island.
There will be Phillies fans that are doing what you did with the Sixers. What people did with the Sixers.
Okay.
All right, well, prove it to me in the playoffs. So the Phillies had a historic start to their season last year. If they did that again this year, I think people will have fun because it's a nightly watch. But I do believe there's going to be a large percentage of Phillies fans that are going, this is great, but it's the same lineup. Are they going to strike out? Are they going to have a bad approach? How many times have you brought up the bad approach?
No question.
And you question the hitting coach. You question Bryce Harper. And you question leadership of the team.
Yes.
It's the same team.
It is the same team.
So that's why I think there will be a percentage of people that go, all right, wake me up when.
Okay, now here's the problem is, though. With those things, when you have a good team that has already shown you that they can win in the postseason and that they can have those moments, I consider you a miserable fan. That's a miserable fan. If you're a Sixers fan and you have that attitude, you say the same thing, I absolutely agree with you.
But that started
100%
that started years ago.
No, and they deserved to it.
Right.
It deserved it. They haven't gotten out of into the second round.
Right, but now you're starting to see the steps back, right?
Right.
Not making it as far in the playoffs. There's a lot of question about this lineup and how it's constructed. So, if you did say no, that you don't feel the same buzz that you usually do for the Phillies, is it the Super Bowl hangover, or is it a hangover from past failures?
I know what my answer is. I'll save it.
All right, we will hear that coming up. And also, if you do have buzz for the Phillies, we'd love to hear from you because
Sure.
I am excited. 13 days from opening day, can't believe it.
You can be both.
Sure.
You can also be in the one camp. I know that I'm doing a Colarulo.
You can text it at 610-632-0975. But yeah, don't forget, we will still talk about the Eagles. They made a few moves yesterday. We'll discuss the pickups, and could that be a sign for other moves to come? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you. So text us at 610-632-0974. It is 6:14 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. On this Football Friday, even though we're talking a little bit about the Phillies today and whether or not you're feeling the buzz for the start of the season. Obviously, offseason continues for the Eagles, and they made some more moves yesterday. One happened right after the show ended yesterday. They agreed to a one-year deal with Josh Uche, who was with the Chiefs last year, but obviously has...
I did not know the man's name.
I did.
I didn't know the name.
Yeah, he was good for the Patriots.
I didn't remember his name.
2 or 3 years ago, he had a double-digit sack season.
I had to Google him. I said, don't know him.
Yeah, he had last year, like the year before the Super Bowl year, he had a good opening week against the Eagles in New England, I believe.
Yeah. So in 2022, he had 11.5 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss, 14 quarterback hits. So he had an incredible year in 2022. The problem is he's only had 9 sacks since then.
Yeah, that can be a bit of a problem.
He's not going to be looked at as the lead guy. I mean, what Vic Fangio does so well is he rotates his edge rushers so much. So Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Bryce Huff is still on the team. Uchi's obviously here now. So he's good with rotating his ends, and I imagine they're going to grab somebody else either off the scrap heap. They'll probably draft somebody. You know that the Eagles are going to do that because they build with the trenches offensively and defensively.
They absolutely are going to bolster that.
So I thought that was a very inexpensive deal that they signed for a 1-year deal. Here's what they're going to do, as they also acquired Harrison Bryant yesterday, who's a tight end who
did you know who Harrison Bryant was?
Yeah, he had a very good season with the Raiders 2 years ago.
I knew
last year he did nothing.
Now, I knew his name. I couldn't have told you who he played for. Like his name, I heard the name and I went, okay, I know that name, but I don't know. I can't remember who he played for or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at right now, right?
So
we're finding names like that.
This is what they're doing. They're getting guys to very cheap deals. I look at Uchi before I look at Harrison Bryant as hey, maybe they can figure something out here with Vic Fangio. The Bryant signing, I wonder if that has something to do with Dallas Goedert down the road. Here's the problem, and I did not know this. This I do from my research. Bryant can't block. Neither can Grant Calcaterra. So I don't think Bryant necessarily means Goddard's gone, but if Goddard is on the way out, you're now top 2 tight ends are guys that can't block. And with the way this team runs the football, as dominant as the offensive line is, and you've pointed out the run numbers when Goddard was
really
out, it's still not that bad.
They're not. They're one of the. How about this? Their run numbers when Goddard's out are still top 5 in the NFL.
I just don't want to have to risk it, especially if we're expecting a bit of a fall off from Saquon this year, just because of how many times he touched the ball last year.
Correct.
And then if he's out, I like A.J. Dillon, and Andrew DeCecco loves Will Shipley, but I don't think they're ready to just be, I'll make guys miss all the time. Like, Saquon Barkley's a freak.
Yeah, they're not ready to do that yet.
So
not yet. We don't know. Well, we don't know what's going to happen.
It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing at the tight end position if Dallas Goedert is on his way out. And lastly, they signed cornerback Adoree Jackson. I'm going to guess that that's more of a camp battle for Keely Ringo. He's been in the league for a while now. He's been in the league since 2017, Titans and then Giants. So he's been in the division for the last couple of years.
So they have a lot of tape on him.
Yeah.
As far as even personal tape, and they also do, even though he was certainly not an impact
Yeah,
guy.
the tape's not great.
No,
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. Well, there's you want to see worse tape? I watched 12 minutes yesterday on your newest offensive lineman that you traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, I've seen some
and I'm
bad
telling you
footage being posted.
If this will be the miracle worker thing.
Of Stoutland.
If Jeff Stoutland can make this a winner, man, because it looks bad. It looks really bad.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how that goes.
It happens,
But
though.
they did acquire 3 more players yesterday, but this is what it's going to be. It's going to be very cheap deals, and it might be like reclamation projects, with Green the other day.
Sure.
Uchi, who's had a very good season just 3 years ago, but fallen off kind of a bit since then. So we'll see if there's any other move. I mean, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be depth guys. They need depth. I mean, their offense is set.
They need depth.
All right. Obviously, we're waiting to see what happens with Dallas Goedert, but their offense is set. Defense, they need bodies.
Sure.
Because they lost 5 key players, even though we had a guy telling us yesterday they didn't lose any important pieces. They lost key players. Hopefully, these guys can be impactful players. And you talked about the Jeff Stoutland miracle work.
Yeah.
Are we going to also look at Vic Fangio as a miracle worker this year? Because he lost a lot of good players. All right, so those are your moves for the Eagles yesterday. We'll get back to the Buzz conversation coming up next. We'll dive deeper into what Connor and I were saying. This was when you were out. We found out that there were a lot of people that were doing the whole just wake me up come playoff time. So we'll discuss that coming up next. Also, there might be some buzz, more than you expect. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles add to the defense. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds made a couple more additions to the defense yesterday in free agency, signing edge rusher Josh Uche and cornerback Adoree Jackson. With the new pieces on defense, the Eagles are really going to be counting on Vic Fangio's coaching ability, and Barrett Brooks joined the best show ever yesterday to talk about how big of an asset that ability from Vic Fangio is.
When you have guys that come in and it's a teacher, and that's exactly what Vic Fangio was, that is a huge something that we're not talking about. Vic Fangio's ability to go out there and get these young guys playing at a high level.
The Eagles also added tight end depth, signing Harrison Bryant. There's still more work to do, so we'll keep you updated on what the Birds are working on. Flyers took down the Lightning 4-3 in a shootout last night. Bobby Brink, 2 goals in the game. The Sixers play the Pacers tonight at 7. That game will be live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Union.
morning here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Don't forget, Knockout. Coming your way March 26th, so 12 days from now. 13 days from opening day, 12 days from Knockout. Sixers Wizards, Wednesday, March 26th. And, of course, you could win a pair of tickets right now by the end of the show if you enter the keyword NET. Like nothing but net.
Net.
N-E-T. Enter that on 975thefanatic.com's contest page. By the way,
What's that?
it is now sponsored. Is that correct?
It is.
There it is. Sponsored by Barlow Chevrolet and Delran for honest pricing and dedicated service. Visit 975thefanatic.com for complete details. So, yeah.
Good job, Barlow.
Nice of them to make the Thomas Invitational happen.
I already told you I'm
I
standing.
don't think that's why they bought it, Connor, but I'm not going to speak for Barlow Chevrolet.
I'm standing behind Connor.
I don't want it to be
behind
that
Connor.
easy.
Nope. I am standing.
Can we get a shooter back
I am
there?
standing behind Connor, and I will knock your ass out.
Yeah, guess what? That is,
Early.
we are.
A lot of
look,
smack talk. If he kept quiet, if he was humble about it, I'd say, you know what?
I am absolutely.
Go ahead, find the little kid to stand behind you so that it makes your life easier.
I got a couple things, too, and I will be on one of the mics. These two are separate. These two are right next to each other.
Yes,
And the Colorulos are separated.
they have to be. Yeah,
Now, I know they've just had a
conspiracy.
baby and they're a beautiful couple. They are separated this year. There is at least a couple people between the Colorulos.
Yeah, that was a conspiracy theory.
Because that
last
was
year.
set up. Bill's a master.
Anytime he missed, she missed. Anytime he made it, she made it.
It was unbelievable.
Just we found out who the better basketball player was in the
And
family.
she was. She had
Yeah.
much better form.
All right, so I want to start with the positive, John. How about that?
Let's do it.
Philadelphia sports media goes positive. Why we should have buzz for the Phillies. So last week when you were out, and this was before Connor's vacation, when both of you guys were slacking at the same time.
Yeah, as you slack next week. Thank you.
Connor and I were talking about the Phillies for a little bit, and Connor was very upset with a group of Phillies fans that are doing the whole wake me up when the playoffs happen or going into the season expecting more doom and gloom, right? Because there are people that do that,
Okay.
not a huge percentage.
Tell me but before we start this conversation in earnest, you guys tell me what percentage of the fan base you
I'll
think
let him. He's
falls
got the
into
lock. He's got
that
the
you think
locked on
falls
Phillies.
into that.
He's got the locked on Phillies podcast.
What
man.
percentage of this fan base you think is in the gloom and doom? Well, this team's not going to win anything. I mean, they can win as many games. I don't care.
I'd say 15, maybe even pushing close
Okay.
to 20.
Okay. No, I totally agree with them. We're all on the same page.
Yeah, it's not 50-50.
Okay, we're all on the same page then.
And
Absolutely.
this is different than the Buzz conversation. 'Cause
Right,
the
it is.
Buzz
It's
conversation is
different.
a lot bigger because we have had very little Phillies discussion, obviously because of the Eagles, but, you know, it's not like people, you know how many times have you gotten the, hey, can you guys talk about the Phillies today tweet? I haven't gotten any of those.
Are you kidding me? I get that you guys don't talk enough about the Flyers and the Sixers.
Well, yeah, but I haven't gotten any about the Phillies. So
No, not. But that's an indictment.
Right, exactly. So one of the reasons why we believe, Connor and I, and I'm sure you do as well, Johnny,
Okay.
why there should be a lot of buzz is this team's still going to be pretty damn good. They're going to win 90 games. I imagine a floor as long as there's no like major injuries, which something you and I talked about off air yesterday during post-show headlines. That is a concern of mine just because the group is getting a little bit older. But that aside, their pitching staff's going to be nasty.
It's going to be really good.
Like, it could very well end up being the best rotation in baseball.
How about-
and that's not something to just ignore.
How about I'll say to you right now, I believe they are the deepest rotation. I think when you go 1 to 5, I'll argue that they are the deepest rotation.
You got
in
1 to
baseball.
5, and with guys waiting in the wing, Andrew Painter's
Well, we
not
don't-
even part of the 1 to 5.
And he's still July.
It's weird. They almost have more starting depth than they do bullpen depth,
They do.
which never
No,
happens.
They do, though.
I will say bullpen is a bit of a concern of mine.
It should be.
But right now, we're starting with the positive.
Right, exactly.
And you have that ridiculously good and deep pitching staff where your bullpen might be able to get by, not being like this isn't a rotation. Maybe early on in the season when they're stretching out arms, but this shouldn't be a rotation where you're only hoping for 5 innings. Like when Taijuan Walker would pitch, you're like, please just get through 3 and only give up like 2 runs. This is a rotation where if a starting pitcher gives up like 3 or 4 runs in an outing, you're going to be like, not their best day. Like
It won't be their best,
Right,
correct.
exactly. Like, remember last year, up until June, like everybody's ERA was like in the 2s or low 3s.
And with this offense, this should be a pitching staff that pitches from a position of power and comfort.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to get extra opportunity to have a little buffer.
Right, exactly.
Which is good.
And this offense, even though there are concerns with approach and how things have fallen apart the last couple of years, especially in the playoffs, and that long slog of the end of the season last year, they are still talented. And I'm going to go into a season expecting that talent's going to end up playing out.
Okay, now the thing is, though, when you say talent's going to play out. Okay, so I think we're all on the same platform of the train station. Where I question you is this. How much confidence do you have, though, that this team is going to be different? That this is going to be a different year? We're going to have a different result this time. This team is more prepared. By the time they get to October, this team will be more prepared to be successful.
I believe it will be more of the same, and you just got to hope that they don't go ice cold.
See, I hate this about baseball fans, though, is that, yes, there are things about baseball is one of those sports where I do believe the baseball playoffs is a huge crapshoot. I really do. Because like in football, you rarely see the team come like the Phillies did, the Diamondbacks did, where they come out of left field, do nothing. They're the worst team getting in the playoffs, and then they run all the way to the World Series. In football, you usually see it play out. Basketball, you almost always see it play out to be the best teams. Baseball, you can have blips on the radar. But the way the Phillies season has ended, 3 years in a row. I hear people say 2. 3 years in a row. With their bats just going whimper dash. 2022, 3 games. 2023, 2 games at home. And 2 of the games, then 2024 last year. When you see them go out with a whimper every single time without any fight in them, it's something that to me is of great concern.
But here's the thing. You say this is your problem with baseball fans. No, it should be your problem with baseball.
What do you mean?
The Dodgers won the World Series last year. That is correct.
Sure.
So they got over the hump.
Right.
In 2022, when they lost to the Padres in 4 games, they won 111 games that year. They
did.
111-51, which is ridiculous.
But their pitching staff fell apart.
I could tell you the lineup fell apart.
I did, but no. But they also had major injuries too.
Here were your starters for 4 games. Trey Turner hit .333 in that series. Freddie Freeman hit .357. So they carried their load, right?
They did their part of the job.
Here were the rest. Will Smith, tremendous catcher, 188. Mookie Betts, MVP, probably a Hall of Famer one day.
Came up small.
143. Max Muncy, great player, 286. Gavin Lux, 231. Trace Thompson, 154. Justin Turner, 154. Cody Bellinger, 143.
Okay.
So they all went cold. A lineup that won 111 games that year went cold. It's
okay,
not just
so the
like
Phillies
a
have done
baseball
it 3 years
thing.
in a row.
Right, and
the thing is,
you got to hope that they don't go cold.
Yeah, but the Phillies didn't do it by being. Last year they were just freaking cold, except for Game 2.
Yes.
The 2 years before, they were red hot. And then when the lights got the brightest and the pressure was on them, the last 3 against the Astros, they got shut out.
Right,
They
so
got no hit in a World Series game. It's the makeup and the approach.
Well, I was about to say, is it an approach thing or is it a bright lights thing?
I think it's bright lights is part of it.
Well,
absolutely part of it. And it's not. I'm not saying for a guy like Bryce Harper.
No, but it might be. It might be for some.
But even Bryce Harper has gone disappearing act in some of those down the stretch when they were falling
except
apart.
For last year. Last year is Castellanos and Harper were the only 2 guys that did anything. So look, is there buzz for the Phillies going into the season? We want to lead with the positive, but I know there is going to be a lot of negative buzz going into the season as well. So we want to hear from that as well. If there isn't buzz for you, why is it? 610-632-0975. We'll check our text line for the first time this morning. Obviously, also, if you want to react to any of the Eagles signings from yesterday, feel free as the offseason continues. But I saw something yesterday, Johnny, an email about the Phillies that put a major smile on my face, and it makes me feel old. And I feel bad for saying that next to you. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
They really like Vaughn. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this championship football Friday. So we'll get to our text line here momentarily about the Phillies buzz and whether or not it is there for you. And I do believe it is there for the people because I saw yesterday an attendance report that I'll give to you here in a moment. But yesterday, before I even saw that, I did see an email yesterday that made me smile. Made me feel a little old, and again, I feel bad, Johnny, because
why is that?
It makes me feel old.
That it's going to make. Well, first off, I don't feel old, so that's pretty good.
That's good. That's
so
good.
I don't feel it. That doesn't mean at times that I go, "Holy God!"
Yeah,
I'm like, please.
So the Phillies sent an email out yesterday to media members, but I also think anybody who gets tickets through the Phillies that they're going to be inducting Jimmy Rollins into the Wall of Fame.
I think that's fantastic.
I think it's the first one in a while where I'm actually like, yeah, this one makes sense.
Well,
with all due respect to those who have been placed on the Wall of Fame, they all played Major League Baseball. They all had long careers. Like Mike Lieberthal played for the Phillies for like 10 plus years. Mike Lieberthal doesn't scream Phillies legend to me.
No, the Wall of Fame. I think Phillies Alumni Weekend is one of the best things that is executed in our local.
That's why they're one of the best organizations, family friendly,
and
people come back, man.
They create that atmosphere.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you the same thing though.
Yeah,
like to me, I think they've watered down the Wall.
Yeah, like why did it take till this year for Jimmy Rollins when like the last couple of years you were? I don't know if how like Major League Baseball, it's 5 years after you retire before you can get into the Hall of Fame.
The Phillies Wall of Fame shouldn't be any more than 2.
Yeah, just hell. If you're doing the Swan Song season, if you know it's their last year, you should just
no, because you want to have it be a cornerstone of a weekend,
right?
I guess.
So that people come in.
But the thing is, though, still, I just look at it and say, okay, a bit watered down.
Yeah.
Like
they're gonna have to build a new wall out there. They got so many names out there.
A Wall of Fame that's gonna have Jimmy Rollins on it, Mike Schmidt on it, Larry Bowa on it, things like that, and Mike Lieberthal. I always look at it and just go, and that's not Mike. Mike is a hell of a guy.
He played 10 plus years here. Yeah, absolutely.
But not fame.
Yeah.
Fame.
Yeah, well.
It's different. Fame.
Yeah. He played 13 seasons with the Phillies.
No, he didn't.
13 seasons.
I would not. If you had said to me, over under 9.5.
94 to
I don't know what
94 to 06. Long time.
Yeah, but that doesn't make fame.
No, it doesn't. Also, Ed Wade, by the way, deservedly so.
Temple University's Ed Wade.
We've also talked about how he was the guy that originally constructed that.
No, he did.
That era. Yeah.
That era, Pat Gillick gets all the credit.
Yeah.
And that era was the Ed Wade era.
Yeah.
Ed Wade did it.
Yeah, he did it. He did a great job.
I'm not just fronting the owl guy.
No, of course.
That's fine, but I'm willing to.
But yeah, congratulations to them both. And it's actually a weekend now. Like, I want to buy tickets for that alumni day. There's been some in the past where I've been like, yeah, I can miss this one.
Yeah, that's all right.
And plus, it makes me feel old because Jimmy Rollins is my favorite player.
See, what's weird is that that doesn't make me feel old when I hear something like, it's been 40 years since this football game.
Yeah, right.
And I go, okay, I was at that game.
Yeah.
I remember that game. That's what gets me.
That was my favorite player growing up, and now he's getting Wall of Fame recognition. Also, there might be buzz with the Phillies, Johnny, if you base it off of attendance and not talk.
Okay.
So yesterday, Bob Nightingale put out the tweet about the ticket sales across Major League Baseball. Here are the top 10 teams with the biggest demand for tickets.
Sales. Advanced sales.
Number 10, the Seattle Mariners. The Giants are at 9. The Rangers are at 8. The Cubs are at 7. The Mets are at 6. Their ticket sales have tripled from a year ago. Obviously, their success in the playoffs last year and Juan Soto signing is a pretty big deal.
Okay, that's wild.
The Phillies coming at number 5. Phillies 5, Atlanta 4, Yankees 3, Red Sox 2, Dodgers 1. And the Sox and Yankees will always be top 5. And Dodgers. Those 3 teams will always be top 5.
Now, what's really weird is that here's where I'm going to say, I'm not going to make you feel old, but I'm going to tell you, I'm old enough to remember when any Yankee game I wanted to go to, we would drive up.
And it was there.
Park at the prison.
Yeah.
And I paid this nice man $10 to watch my car for me.
That's awesome.
On the street.
That's great.
Guess what? My car was never touched.
Hey.
And I gave that guy $10 every time.
Hell yeah, man.
Now, he may have had a bag with a bottle in it.
You never know.
But he made sure
nobody
touched my car. And then Red Sox games, Red Sox Nation didn't exist.
Right.
I
That
remember.
boomed.
I remember when you could go to a Red Sox game anytime you wanted.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how.
Yeah, but you know, I could
things
say the same.
change.
I could say same thing about the Phillies 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, the thing is though is that's what happened. Is the Phillies had that great run 7-12.
Yeah.
Ticket sales, and then 13 was
13 on,
It
just
was
fell
on.
apart.
It
Yeah.
fell apart. And I understand that, by the way. I'm not one of those people who shames the fans.
No, absolutely
on that.
not.
I understand if it's a crap product, you don't feel like paying top dollar for it.
So one of the people saying on the text line, because I just saw a tweet from Beer Snob, I fully expect empty stands by July.
I disagree.
Like, come on,
Completely.
dude.
I told you they're out there.
I agree with you. There are people out there. Now, how many, we'll find out. But what are the people saying on the text line this morning?
Joe the Cynic leads us off today, and he
What's
says,
up, Joe?
What's up, Joe? May not apply today. He says, I don't have a Phillies podcast to push, so no, there's no buzz for them and their, in quotes, offensive edition of Max Kepler. Definitely in wait and see in the postseason mode and completely unrelated to the Eagles' success.
What was that
Kepler-
backhanded shot from Joe the Cynic?
Kepler hit a rocket yesterday, by the way.
I'm telling you, I'm intrigued.
Well, of course you're intrigued.
No, I'm intrigued. I really am. I'm intrigued because he's not a bad player.
No, he's not a bad
Now,
player,
he's a
but
player
it didn't move the needle for me.
He's a player that I tell you, I probably watched him play 10 games in his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not like, I don't have any kind of book in my head on what he is.
He hasn't had a very, very good season since 2019, so it
But,
didn't totally move the
no.
needle for me.
Well, he's had better seasons than guys we've had in the outfield here in the last few years.
Yeah, the two guys that are platoon in center field.
He's had much better years than them.
Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas, giddy up. Look, they're going to be very good. They're going to be very good. It's going to come, and Joe the Cynic says it there. He's kind of, and I know Joe. Joe is a big baseball fan. Joe plays.
he is.
He plays Sunday League baseball still,
Okay.
and he hurls, man. Joe loves baseball.
Why does he have upset stomach? Something like that?
And he is saying, wake me up when.
Okay.
And I think this is that first year for a lot of people where it will be that way. 2 years ago, after they lose the World Series, you then sign Trey Turner. And it's like, wow, they got to the World Series and they got better, right? And then last year coming into the season, you acquired more talent. This is the first year where they didn't make like the big splash. So splashy signings does create buzz. They didn't do that this year. Luzardo, I think people will fall in love with. But unless you were a big baseball fan, you don't really know who Jesus Luzardo is.
I still don't understand how they got him. Like, I really don't understand how more teams weren't clamoring and upping that price.
Teams are teams, man.
No, it's shocking to me.
The
amount of teams that need pitching allowed the Phillies to get him as a fifth starter.
Here are the two teams he played for in his career, the Athletics and the Marlins.
Yeah, but baseball people know, right?
Oh, I know, but maybe that had something to do with it. I
That
don't
could
know.
be.
He didn't have a great year last year. He's very talented, so we'll see how it plays out. All right, coming up next, we'll check
Jeff
more.
Stoutland's going to work with him.
We'll check more of your text messages. And also, now that we got some of the warm and fuzzies out of the way about why you should have buzz for the season, what about the opposite? We'll get into that as well as we reset the show next. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A couple more signings for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Eagles made a couple more signings yesterday in free agency, adding to the defense mainly. They signed edge rusher Josh Uche and cornerback Adoree Jackson with the new pieces on defense. The Birds are really going to be counting on Vic Fangio's coaching ability as defensive coordinator. So Barrett Brooks joined the best show ever yesterday to talk about how big of an asset it is to have a coach like Vic Fangio.
When you have guys that come in and it's a teacher, and that's exactly what Vic Fangio was, that is a huge something that we're not talking about. Vic Fangio's ability to go out there and get these young guys playing at a high level.
The Eagles also added tight end depth yesterday, signing Harrison Bryant. Still got some more work to do, so we'll keep you updated. Flyers took down the Lightning 4-3 in a shootout. Bobby Brink, 2 goals in the game. Sixers play the Pacers tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. They are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
97.5 The Fanatic. Talking about the Fightins a little bit today and tying it into the Eagles, of course, on whether or not you have buzz for the Philadelphia Phillies. You wake up this morning and they are 13 days away from opening day. Now, I have buzz. I'm a Phillies lover. I'm a baseball lover. I'm heading down to spring training, which also helps this weekend. Like, I can't wait to watch them on the field. But when we do this show for a living, when we talk about sports on a day-to-day basis, there have been years in the past where people have been upset if we've been talking about too much Eagles. A very small amount of people, because the majority of you want to hear Eagles talk on a daily basis. Trust us, we have the data to back that up. But we haven't got many of the... Can you guys talk about the Phillies today?
No, we haven't got a lot of that, but I think we can. Like, I think this year is going to end up being... People will buy back into this.
Right, but usually you get that before the season starts.
Yeah, and that's why I
haven't got much of it.
No, and Best Show Ever did a really interesting discussion on it the other day, and I really believe it's true. Like, there's not a lot of energy for this season. Now, maybe the question for some people is, did the Eagles suck it out of the room?
Right. So
they may very well have.
Our question today at 610-632-0975, we'll check the text line here in a minute as well, is whether or not you have the buzz, you feel the buzz for the Phillies season. And if you answer yes, all right, tell us what you're excited for. If you say no, is it A, because you've just been so eagled up, and I don't blame anyone for being eagled up. They won the damn Super Bowl, and this offseason has been wild. I mean, the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade happened this week, and nobody expected it. Or B, is it because the Phillies themselves and what they have done to you the last couple of years, and they didn't really have the busy off season that we've been accustomed to the last couple of years? Because let's face it, there's a group of casual fans in every sport. So this is not me like calling out Phillies. There's a group of casual. We see with the Flyers, we see with the Sixers, we see with the Eagles. When they're really good, they're in. When they're a big story, they're in. This offseason was not fun for a casual fan. They failed in the playoffs last year, and they answered that by acquiring Jesus Luzardo, who, unless you're like a really big baseball fan, you don't know who he is. And Max Kepler, you might go, oh, I remember him, and then you realize it's been since 2019 when he had a really good season. So I wonder what it is. So I'll ask this question because we got the warm and fuzzies out of the way early, asking why there should be buzz for the season. We discussed it. But why shouldn't there be buzz for the season? You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And I think the answer is kind of easy. It's the same lineup that's fallen apart toward the end of the last
and that's one of the things is anybody can spin to me what's going to happen. There is the biggest empty calories in all of sports. NBA regular season wins, Major League Baseball regular season wins. It's 2. Mm-hmm. NBA number 1, Major League Baseball 2. You can win a lot. If you have with this pitching staff, if the Phillies don't win 90 games, it's atrocious.
Yeah.
With their payroll, it's an atrocious, abysmal failure.
Yeah.
If you're not talking about a 90-some win team. They should be able to, because you're facing other teams, as Joe will, the cynic will say, back end of their rotation guys. You're facing dog meat teams from August 1st on, that have given up on the seasons and everything like that. 90-some wins should be a walk in the park.
Your number 4 in the rotation could legitimately be a number 2 on some teams,
absolutely.
Or some bad teams. It could be your 1.
Yes, and so there's a lot of there. But the thing is, I don't like the fan. I'm going to be honest. I don't like the fan that says, "They'll wake me up when they get to October." If it's about the Phillies, if it's about the Sixers, we are brothers in arms.
Right.
We are brothers in arms.
Yeah, prove me
You're talking about the Phillies? The Phillies have shown you enough October moments. Even last year in a bad series against the Mets, they still played tough game, won a great dramatic game.
Castellanos,
played a tough game, and then whimpered out.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're still in the last game.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like we've had October moments, and they've shown you that on the big stage they can perform.
And by the way, they're over or under for wins this season.
What is it at? I do not know this. Can I guess?
Yeah, take a guess. This is on FanDuel, so everybody has their each respective apps, but
91.5.
Connor?
90 and a half.
That is correct. 90
90 and a half.
Yeah, so I can't say less than 90 wins is a travesty.
No, this team?
This division got tough, Johnny.
It did, but you're talking about the whole entirety of Major League Baseball.
I still think that let me see. I'm curious to see what they have with the Mets. The Mets are also 90 and a half. I think the Mets might be slightly overrated because of the Soto thing.
Yeah, the Braves are what, 91 and a half, I believe?
The Atlanta Braves are 93 and a half.
Okay, so the Braves are...
And the over, by the way...
What's the Mets number?
The over, by the way,
90 and a half, same
favorite.
as the Phillies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm shocked at that because the Braves are...
Their rotation's not good.
Their rotation is not good, and their bullpen isn't as good as it's been.
Yeah.
Like, their lineup is excellent.
That might be an underpiece.
Excellent lineup.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that. I'm surprised at those numbers. I'm very surprised.
But the other day, Connor, you always like to give your win total. And we'll do the official stuff before the season starts. But I said to John yesterday on post-show headlines, I think I said anywhere between 89 to 95, and you said I got to narrow that gap.
Yeah, you got 89 to 95.
So I'll go right in the middle, 92.
Okay, that's the kind of thing. Well, no, exactly.
That's a good season.
I'm saying 92 is a very good season. 92 and 70 is a very good season. Anything above 92 is a little bit of cake.
Yeah.
And it's nice. But 92 and 70, I think this team, when you're talking about the money they're spending, John Middleton's spending, the rotation they have, the lineup they have, this team doesn't win 92. It is a joke.
No, John.
Yes. Yes.
I can't go. Listen, they won 95 last year in a year where they played a couple of months as great as we've ever seen the Phillies.
And they won 90. Didn't they win 90? Did they win 90 in 22?
They won 91 in 22 they won 86.
Yeah, they backed
86 was it? Yeah, I don't know the numbers of the years. I mean, that
87
team,
and 75.
87. So they won 87. Then they won what in 23? Do you have that number? In 23, the number.
Second, 90 and 72.
So they won 83, they won 90, and they won 90 what?
95 last year.
Okay, so they've averaged around that 91 mark, something like that.
92.
This team should sure as hell do that.
Yeah, but if the difference between okay and tragedy can't be 2 dropped games somewhere in a 162 game schedule. That's not fair.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think we just have different bar, Connor. We have a different bar performance for this team. There's John Middleton saying, and I guarantee you he's saying it, because the checkbook was closed this year. He's saying it. I need this group to perform.
Right.
And I need them to not sleepwalk from mid-June like they did last year.
So start off slow.
But I don't need this team to and a manager to literally roll over and be like, we got to make sure guys are rested. We got to make sure. There were games last year where he gave Bryce Harper a day off. And they had a critical at-bat with men on base with a chance to win late in the game, and they wouldn't pitch him. Well, I told him he had the day off.
Yeah.
Give me a freaking break.
Yeah, I don't like
it's
that.
so stupid.
I don't like it in practice, but at the end of the day, they had the second best record in baseball last year. They were not going to catch the Dodgers.
I understand, but when you set the agenda of the second half of the year, it festered. The second half of the year, they were like, feet up,
It was
rest up,
spring training.
and they
Second half of
literally
the
would
year.
do these things where they wouldn't. I told him he had a day off today.
Well, you're going to see more of it this year because Andrew already talked about it. This core is old.
You're not going to hear. You know what we're not going to see this year? We are not going to see Rob Thompson be allowed to let this team put their feet up. I promise you, I guarantee you, Dave Dombrowski has laid that out there. But we're not doing the, we got to get every guy rest every week.
We're doing that.
Because we're getting, okay, we'll see. It's not happening. I would tell you that is Dave Dombrowski's number one point of pissed off about what would happen last year.
I don't know, man. They are
number one.
They're getting up there in age.
You got a bunch of 32-year-olds.
Yeah, but no. Not where you go, I gave Bryce a day off today, so I'm not going to pinch hit him with 2 men on base.
Oh, I got it.
Down by a run.
I agree with you there.
We can't do it because he has a day off. You go to the batting cage underneath right behind the clubhouse. You go do it, and you come up and swing.
Yeah, but
that's going on in baseball for 100 years.
I got you, but if 32-year-old JT Realmuto gets hurt, you're screwed.
No.
If 32-year-old Bryce Harper gets hurt, you're screwed.
I want JT Realmuto to have. I want him to have days off.
Yeah.
I want him to have time off. I don't want JT. I want JT catching this year for me. I'd love him to catch 120 games.
I'm fine
as
with
long
that.
as DJ AAA is down in
He will not be on the team to start the year.
Marchand's looking good this spring.
Rafael Marchand is a lock
and he
to
should
be the backup catcher.
And that is a beautiful thing. So I would say, what do you say, 120 and 42?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Are we all on the same page?
As long
there?
as he's healthy.
No, as
Yeah.
long as if JT's healthy, I think 120 benefits him at the plate.
Yeah.
And benefits him. Would you DH him on days that he's off or not?
So
just give him total
probably
days
not.
off.
He has spoken about it in the past. He would rather not DH. He would rather play like first base than not. So if you're
Do
giving
you let Harper DH that day?
No, Schwarber.
no, Schwarber stays as No, what
I'm saying is, though, do you give Schwarber a day off, let Real Muto play first, let Harper DH that day, and give Schwarber a day off?
Well, no, you're gonna stack them. Where if Schwarber has a day off, Real Muto's playing, but there's gonna be a day where Real Muto's not playing and Schwarber's playing. They're gonna stack days off. It's gonna happen,
Okay.
except for like the Sunday give up lineup that you love.
Oh, that's another Rob Thompson special. That just
it's
is.
in every team in
that's every
baseball.
team.
No, it's not every. It's not every team in baseball.
I still remember Girardi.
No, you're saying you guys have
Joe
PTSD.
Girardi, Game 3 of the season was.
It is not
had
every
a
team in
Sunday
baseball.
lineup out
Some
there.
managers actually trot out their starters and have them play a lot.
There's one team that does it, and they're the team that's always hurt when things matter most, and that's the Atlanta Braves.
They do it a lot. I'm telling you.
And guess what?
like,
They fall apart in the postseason, too.
We'll see how it goes.
All right, we continue talking about the Phillies today, whether or not you have the buzz, and if not, why? Is it because of their own doing, or is some of it because of the Eagles? Obviously, we've been talking about them so much because they've been so busy. They win the Super Bowl, and the offseason has been very busy
They dominated.
for the Eagles. They've dominated the conversation. So we'd love to hear from you. We'll check the text line next at 610-632-0975. Also, we have an update on Sixer star Paul George, Johnny.
What? Did you just say Sixers star Paul George?
He's paid like one.
He's not a star.
There was also some interesting reporting that may have been deleted.
What?
I don't know if you saw
Oh, this is
yesterday.
tasty. I did not.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
There's no reason to panic.
All righty, we're going to check out our text line here momentarily about our Phillies discussion. We got a couple Sixers things that we're going to get into this hour, Johnny, alongside our
That's good.
Phillies discussion. One around 7:25. Some of you might cry. I might cry. But first, let's start with Paul George. So
I'm glad you didn't say Sixer star, Paul George. Just tweaking me. You're just tweaking me.
I sure am. There was a story from Sham Charania yesterday, obviously lead insider
Sure.
for ESPN, lead insider of the NBA. 76ers Paul George consulting with doctors over injuries, sources say. He's obviously missed the last couple of games. Who knows if that's a strategic miss or not. But Paul George has obviously been getting those injections. And that was reported months ago, even when he was still playing. So I understand that he was playing through a lot of pain. But now that we've kind of reached that point of the season where wins are losses and losses are wins,
So right after he shuts down his podcast, he then has to shut down the season. That's what you're telling me.
yeah.
This is not some war story, war hero.
No.
It just the whole story disgusts me.
Now, here's what's interesting. So when Shams first put out the story,
Okay.
there was a quote in the story.
A quote.
Or a part of the story, I'm sorry. A part of the story. Multiple sources have told ESPN the NBA has looked into the 76ers' recent absences, particularly over the past week with Paul George and Tyrese Maxey sitting out games.
As tanking?
They're going to see, they're just going to do some digging. Maybe.
Okay, you mean phantom injuries. This would not be the first time or the last time. We've seen this.
Now, what's interesting, if you check the article now, that line has since been deleted from the story.
Okay, this is really interesting, and I'm sorry I missed this.
So why is it deleted? Does Sham
Because-
Charania get more information that they're not
Yes.
looking into it?
That would tell me yes.
Okay.
That would tell me that the editors got to it or whatever and said, yeah, there's not enough to this to give it credibility. Take it out.
Like the Paul George, he legitimately has been getting injections for like months now. And I know it's not, he's not getting a Purple Heart anytime soon.
Please.
But he has been getting injuries and injections. And Tyrese Maxey has been banged up a lot this season. But it's also seems a little coincidental that it seems like the season's over, so now these guys aren't
Yes.
playing.
And if you're telling me, by the way, if you're a Sixers fan and you're annoyed by this and you're thinking the league's coming down on them, damn well, because they literally were the team that beat their chest and bragged about the fact that we're going to lose on purpose and we're
Yeah.
the smartest team in the room. So they deserve every bit of scrutiny they get. Now, it doesn't apply to this leadership, but they're paying the price for it.
Now, here's the deal. The other day when the Sixers played the Toronto Raptors, and of
Okay.
course the Raptors.
Critical game.
That was, hey, you lose this one.
Yes.
Hey, go Sixers, lose for this one.
Yes.
The Raptors in that same game sat Scotty Barnes,
Right.
Chris Bobby Boucher, Brandon Ingram, and Emmanuel Quickly.
But they certainly weren't.
Illness, coach's decision, illness, rest. Those are four of their better players on that team. So I also wonder if that report was legitimate and then maybe somebody from the Sixers goes, oh, whoa.
Hey.
You're going to investigate us when we just played Orlando Robinson for 32 minutes, who, by the way, had a nice night for the Raptors. But you're A.J. Lawson, 35 minutes. You're going to investigate us? What about the team that we just played?
NBA zealots always will defend it, but this is why the league has a huge problem.
Absolutely. You're absolutely
They
right.
don't. They ask people to buy tickets, and then they literally say, "We are going to. We're just going to sit guys out. We're just going to play. We have an 82-game schedule, but we should be playing a 60-game schedule. For most of our stars and most of our players, we should be playing a 60-game schedule because it's too much for them." And this is the modern era, and it all started with Pops.
And you know what's going to happen?
Pops started this.
They're going to play 60 games and they'll still sit 20. Like,
And
that's
to me
what's going to end up
No,
happening.
it will happen because they let the tail wag the dog.
Right.
The NBA, the NFL players do not run the league.
Right.
The most successful sport in the world on this level, team sport, They do not let the tail wag the dog.
I just find it interesting that the immediate report was that they're being looked into, and then that gets deleted. And I wonder,
look into everybody then.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because it happens all over the place. Every team that's fighting for the number one pick should be looked into
Not just
on
that,
a yearly
LeBron's
basis.
on a beach in Clearwater right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be hanging out with him.
I heard he was at
sometime soon.
Malvern yesterday looking for
Oh, my God,
Bronny.
that was the
He's at the
funniest-
Wawa.
for
That was
Bronny to go to school.
That was the funniest.
He's got a
thing,
hoagie.
man. I was on the air when that happened.
Well, it never happened. But you mean when the rumor happened?
When the rumor happened.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, and some people thought it.
Yes.
All right, so I told you we have a
He
couple
did
of
go to
Sixers.
Haverford School, but he didn't went to Mount.
There were a couple of Sixers things that we're going to get into. Coming up next, we're going to open up another topic for you for the rest of the show. So obviously the Phillies buzz discussion will continue. We're not getting rid of that. But this one may either make you laugh, because you need to laugh so you don't cry. You might cry. You might feel sick, or there are people that will probably be in favor of it because it is 2025. It's about Daryl Morey and decision making. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Fangio, the X Factor. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds made some additions to their defense yesterday in free agency. They added edge rusher Josh Uche and cornerback Adoree Jackson. And with the new pieces coming in on defense to replace some of the players leaving, the Eagles are really going to be counting on defensive coordinator Vic Fangio's ability to coach these players up. But Barrett Brooks talked about how his coaching ability may be an X factor for the Birds this next season.
When you have guys that come in and it's a teacher, and that's exactly what Vic Fangio was, that is a huge something that we're not talking about. Vic Fangio's ability to go out there and get these young guys playing at a high level.
The Eagles also added tight end depth. They signed Harrison Bryant, so still more work to do for them, but starting to kick things up a little bit, Howie Roseman is. Flyers took down the Lightning 4-3 in a shootout last night. Bobby Brink, 2 goals in the game. Sixers play the Pacers tonight at 7. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Batalico.
97.5 The Fanatic. Before we get to this Daryl Morey audio, that should be fun. Let's get a text message in, because I do want to keep this Phillies discussion still going about whether or not there is buzz for you, individually, for you. I'm talking to you, the listener, going into this season. Do you have the buzz for the Phillies? And also, there was a move in the NFL overnight. But let's get the text first.
All right, so we'll go with Eddie in Camden, who says, my two buddies are Mets fans. One, they shouldn't be your friends. And they're more,
I agree with that sentiment.
And they're more concerned about the Phillies than lots of Phillies fans are excited. It's confusing to me.
Well, I think the Mets are still destined for third place in the division.
I do too.
Despite how big of a signing they made with Juan Soto and how much fun they had last year, and it might bite me in the rear end because they beat the Phillies in the playoffs last year, but over the course of 162, I think the Phillies are more set.
Do you like their lineup?
Lineup's great. Rotation is
No,
average at best.
You think their lineup is great?
I think they have
Very
a nice
good.
line. They got a young team that's
See,
on
I
the
think
rise.
their lineup is third.
Yeah,
Braves
probably.
Braves lineup 1, Phillies 2, Mets third.
Doesn't mean it's a
third in the
bad
NL
third,
East
though.
is
No, but
like
it's third.
fifth in
Okay,
baseball.
okay. They're starting pitching.
Average at
their
best.
starting pitching's not good.
Is the starting pitching better than the Braves?
No,
no.
absolutely
Okay, so
not.
then they have the third best starting pitching and the third best lineup.
Yeah, that's why I have them coming in third.
No, but that's what I'm saying is that I don't consider that a great lineup or anything like
Well, they're
that.
great, but you got to remember, two of the best three teams in baseball are probably the Phillies and the Braves.
Okay.
So if the Mets are the fifth best team in baseball, it doesn't make their lineup not good. It just makes this division the best one in baseball.
Yeah. And look, I mean, they have Soto, they have Alonso back, they have Francisco Lindor, who's becoming the old Lindor again.
He is.
Well,
he did for last year was great.
Yeah. Yeah, he's becoming the old Lindor again. He had the first bad year with the Mets where everybody was like, oh, this is a bad contract, and then turned things around. All right, so, that's good. That's good to hear that Mets fans look at the Phillies a certain way, as they should. Everybody should realize that the Phillies are going. And I think, here's the thing, Connor, going back to your, you're upset with the wake me up when. I think everybody that says wake me up when realizes they're going to win 90 games.
And
Nobody's saying the Phillies are going to go 70 and 92.
See, that's where Connor, I would say to you, is, and now you're doing a podcast every day, Locked On Phillies. Everybody should follow it. You have a different sensitivity to that line of thinking. I don't like it as a fan. I look at it as you are, to me, if any fan gives me that, then to me you are a casual Phillies
Yeah,
fan.
I can't worry.
You're a casual Phillies
on
fan.
July 2nd about October 1st.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Right. I have to be entertained. I look at it as entertainment.
Yeah, it's a long season.
I have to be entertained, and then I'll salvage it out. And I'll tell you, by last August, I was sounding the alarms. And I was all through August,
As it was
September,
coming down
and saying,
the end.
this team is
Coming down the
playing with
stretch.
no focus, lack of attention to detail. And by the way, you heard I pulled up a couple things, Connor, from Dave Dombrowski in his postseason and his opening statements from spring training this year about his we have to run the bases better.
Absolutely.
We have to be a more intelligent baseball team.
Yeah,
We have to
totally.
that's a guy who is not pleased with the approach that his team has taken.
I agree with that.
And that means his coaching staff, his manager, are under strict focus.
Yeah, but those guys are still going to get days off.
No,
you're
I
still gonna
understand
see-
that, but that's fine. But they're not going to get the stupidity we saw last year of just giving away games.
Right. We saw.
Because you said, oh, we gave Bryce a day off. He can't go up and swing the bat once. He can't do that.
We'll see
Ridiculous.
that. Week 2 of the season, you'll probably
So
see it.
so ridiculous.
Adam Schefter, by the way, reported this morning, 15 minutes ago, by the way,
Okay.
that there is a sleeper team that has emerged for Cooper Kupp, and it is the Dallas Cowboys.
That sounds like a total Cowboys move.
It does. His
Cowboys.
decision could come as early as today, Schefter reporting. He did also say that late last night, Miles Sanders signed with the Dallas Cowboys. So for any of you who still have any sort of love for Miles Sanders, he's now mortal enemy going to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't even know why there were people that loved him as much as they did, but now he's a Dallas Cowboy. So, goodbye.
Exactly.
Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here.
Enjoy your time in Dallas.
Don't run out of bounds
Jordan
when
Davis
you're
gonna-
trying to burn out the
Yeah.
clock
Yeah, you know,
twice.
Jordan Dave's going to eat him alive. All right, so a Sixers discussion that we're going to bring up, and this could be an overall sports discussion, I think, but I know it's going to strike fear for a lot of Sixers fans. I want to play you a clip. So Pablo Torre, who does stuff for ESPN, he had like a what would you call it? Like,
It was like a TED Talk
Hissy
almost.
fit?
Yeah.
Okay.
he sat down, the podium. There's
Yeah.
like 3 chairs. There's him, his co-host, and Daryl Morey.
Little panel.
Yeah, a little panel. Daryl Morey was on it.
Really? Where was that?
I don't know. I don't know where it was at.
Because we're right here in Ballackinwood. And we'd love to have that with Daryl Morey anytime. We've requested it probably 50 freaking times.
Well,
I'm being honest.
He was busy.
No,
and-
not busy enough to do Pablo Torres.
So they started talking about decision making and how they decide on certain players, draft, free agency, trade in-house players, whether or not you're going to extend them, guys that are G League that should get 2-way contracts or maybe get the full regular season contract. And here's Daryl Morey talking about how obviously they utilize their scouts, but they utilize other stuff as well.
When you're making a decision, are you asking an LLM for their input?
2 answers there. We absolutely use models as a vote in any decision, and how much of that decision depends on, how much the assumptions behind those models don't change, and their past success rate. So if you have a highly successful model for picking draft picks, then the models get a lot of weight in those decisions.
Well, there was a lot more to it. But Daryl Morey was basically telling you that he uses AI
Yep, a computer model.
to help make decisions. Now,
Now, the thing is, if it's one component of it, I'm fine with it.
correct.
Absolutely fine with it.
But here's the deal. I am old school when it comes to sports. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't like Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff, despite the success the team has had.
Sure.
It's not something that I like. When it comes to the sport of baseball, I like stealing bases. I like trying to advance runners and not, if you strike out, that's okay. You were trying to hit a home run.
Okay.
In the sport of football, you guys heard me this entire season. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And
I've always been that.
and not like the old school 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but hey, when you're throwing the ball 70% of the times, it could be
a lot of bad things happen
of
when
bad
you
things
throw
that
the
happen.
football that much.
when you have an offensive line. The Eagles are built like an old school football team, so utilize it. Use that strength. It took until a week 5 bye for the offensive line to have to go to Nick Sirianni's office and demand a change. I got what I wanted, and they won the Super Bowl. Did they win the Super Bowl because of it? No, their defense was ridiculous as well, but it helped.
No, they won the Super Bowl because of it.
It helped.
Because they're not in a position to be the 2 seed.
Yeah.
And to have all that break their way if they weren't.
Now, obviously, things change, and I realize that. Like, I can't have a slow center that takes 20 minutes to get up and down the court. Like, you need athleticism in basketball. Hockey's probably the biggest sport that's changed. You need speed on the ice, right?
You need a lot of speed.
You need a lot of speed, and so you need to look at speed, not first, but pretty high up in terms of your evaluation.
Danny Briere wants it.
Yeah, you want speed.
That's why when people say, same old Flyers, no, he has a different approach.
You're right.
Him and Jonesy have a different approach.
And that's probably the sport that's changed my opinion the most in terms of old school versus new school. Baseball, I don't want just home run, home run, home run, home run. I
don't either.
I want guys that can get on base, but guys that can also hit. Not just like, hey, he batted 150 this year, but his on-base percentage was 400.
How about fundamentals?
Yes, all that
Just
stuff is important.
Someone being able to hit behind the runner.
So I've gone on the war against AI and analytics. Analytics should be used as a tool. If you're telling me that it comes down to like maybe 2 players and you're split in the room and you go, well, let's see what the computer says. That scares me, man.
Scares me too. What
Because
are you paying scouts for?
Here's the deal. Things that analytics, and I've gone on this rant numerous times, do not take into account are mentality. I know heart is thrown out willy-nilly, but it's true. They can't evaluate a human being. They can evaluate statistics and where guys shoot from the floor, but they can't evaluate necessarily who people are in the clutch, or let's say you've lost 4 straight games and you need somebody to get you out of the mud. It doesn't evaluate that kind of stuff. When you watch a sport of football, is this green or red? Should you go for it? Should you not go for it? If your offense has not been able to get first downs or your defense has not been able to get a stop,
Don't go by the chart.
that should dictate how you make decisions. When I heard that yesterday, I doubt that Daryl Morey is only making decisions based off it. I'm going to be as fair as possible here because we like Daryl.
Yes, but
But the way he spoke about it was like, yeah, of course we use that kind of stuff. That freaks me out, man. And I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking about the here and now with who the guy is that's making decisions for the team, who signed a player in Paul George to a max contract, who analytically, numbers-wise, yeah, makes sense. But a guy that does not want to necessarily be on the East Coast, a guy that had a contract year last year and finally played healthy, did the computer take that into account?
No. Contract years, they don't.
Like, they don't know how much money, like, that freaks me out.
It should freak you out.
So we can discuss more about that coming up next. Also, our text messages on today's topics. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli, Bill Colarulo, and Ray Dunn. They have
I want you guys to respond to this a little bit more. I'm sorry that I kind of took the floor there. It just freaks me out because when I see that Daryl Morey is, play the clip one more time for us. He was on with Pablo Torre.
Which is great. I'm glad he found the time to do that.
And they asked him, and look, Daryl Morey is a different thinker than a lot of other GMs.
And a really interesting guy to talk
Very interesting.
with.
Like, I thoroughly enjoy conversations with him. I just don't thoroughly enjoy some of the decisions that have been made.
Correct.
And that might be why we're in the position that we're at right now. But here it is one more time. If you missed it last segment, Daryl Morey talking about using artificial intelligence as a plan to make some decisions.
When you're making a decision, are you asking an LLM for their input?
Two answers there. We absolutely use models as a vote in any decision, and how much of that decision depends on, how much the assumptions behind those models don't change, and their past success rate. So if you have a highly successful model for picking draft picks, then the models get a lot of weight in those decisions.
So notice he said there are some models that are better than others, and we will weigh the models that have been more successful.
I told Andrew during the break, and Brendan Gunn had sent us this yesterday on the group chat. When I read it, I had woken up from a nap.
Yeah.
When I read it, I thought Daryl Morey was consulting Allen Iverson for decision making. And I was going to say, then let's get Daryl. Then Daryl needs to leave today.
Well, you know what?
Allen Iverson coming in on decision making.
But you know what? I would listen to Allen Iverson more than artificial intelligence.
No, I wouldn't expect that the work had been put in.
Yeah, but one guy
not.
knows what good basketball is.
Yeah,
the other thing,
but he has to have watched it and paid attention and done the work.
Hey,
and I don't count on that.
What have the computers watched? They just know statistics.
They know a lot more than Allen knows.
So
Allen's not doing that.
Again, we need to before somebody go, oh, old man yelling at clouds. Well, yeah, I am old school when a lot of things when it comes to sports. Look, your football team won a Super Bowl using old school tactics. So checkmate. My baseball team that relies on home runs when they can't hit home runs can't find a way to put.
Has
the ball
a huge
in play.
analytics department, by the way. The Phillies.
Checkmate. Old school sometimes is still good in sports.
It's okay to do. It's okay to still understand that things that were important in baseball in the 70s, 80s, and 90s
still works.
Didn't all of a sudden become, it's old school.
Now there are things that are better nowadays. Like I don't want crafty relievers like they used to have. I want missiles. I want 102 out of the pen. Right? I want Duran from the Twins. That's what I want out of my pen. So I believe in new school stuff. Don't get me wrong. What was your reaction when you heard the clip that we played there?
I expect Daryl Morey to use every resource at his fingertips. I love when, I've told you the story before, when Brian Snicker was going to get fired, he was going to be leaving, when Alex Anthopoulos took over. And they had their first meeting, and he said, look, his son runs the analytics for the Astros.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to consult analytics, but I'm not going to be ruled by it as a manager. So we're probably not a good fit. Alex liked the answer so much he kept him.
Okay.
He said, so you're open to it. You're open to discussing it.
Should be open
It's part
to
of the process, but I am not going to be ruled by analytics. And Alex was like, that's the right answer. You're staying. So it worked out for him. I love that. And I think everybody, if you have a tool like AI, why wouldn't you use it?
You should definitely use
it. Except to write papers in classes. Right. But then you should balance it out as well. And I believe Daryl's a smart guy.
Yes, he is.
I believe he would be more struggling with over-analysis than just the decisions he made. I believe he'd be checking himself and double-checking because he's very, very thorough.
Connor, your thoughts on the clip that we've played?
Yeah, I don't think this is just a Daryl Morey thing, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's a scary thing for sports fans to hear because we don't see the day-to-day operations of how they make these decisions, but these analytical models are not new. They haven't just been introduced to sports in the last year. Every team, I imagine, runs numbers and has departments that look into stuff on these guys. The problem is when you let it control the way that you make the decisions. And now, here's the thing. With some of the decisions the Sixers have made, I don't know how much input they have. So whatever's leading to the bad decisions needs to be cut out. But I can't say that that's fully analytics. I can't tell how much AI is in on that. I think Daryl Morey is a trustworthy guy with how much he's proven he knows about basketball. to the point where he's had a long career in this league. So I trust that he's not overusing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trust him too.
Now, there are people that are probably listening going, no, I love that they're doing this. I remember years ago when I was doing the Fanatic Baseball show, and it was one of the Gabe Kapler years.
Okay.
And that was overuse of analytics.
Of course it was.
And I remember getting into an argument. A guy was like, well, how can you complain about the Phillies using analytics when the Astros rely on it the most out of any team in Major League Baseball? And I go, you mean the dynasty team, the team with like 6 future Hall of Famers on it? I don't think Carlos Correa was hitting baseballs because of a computer system. Like, I think Carlos Correa was hitting baseballs because
Because of a trash can.
That is
because of a
correct.
trash can,
Because of a trash
and because of the
can
baseball.
and everything like that.
The Dodgers are a team that uses analytics a lot because they have $85 billion at their disposal. They also have $85 billion at their disposal to sign Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez. They have like 8 Cy Young candidates.
Freddie Freeman has been quoted numerous times about analytics in baseball.
Yeah.
They didn't win. The Dodgers are winning because who's batting in front of them, who's
Right.
batting behind them. That's why they're winning.
So that's why I do get worried, because I do believe there is an overuse of it, and I do believe some teams rely on it.
Some teams make their lineup out, and I know for a fact there are organizations where general managers have handed their manager the lineup card. This is the proposed lineup card from our analytics department. Do you agree with it? Are we tweaking it? Do you like it? And sometimes they don't give them the opportunity
Right.
to tweak it.
Right. And so,
So-
like a guy like Paul George, I don't know if the decision was made over a formula. Like, I don't know.
I don't think it was.
But Paul George, there is stuff that follows him and has followed him over the course of his career. Injuries, not necessarily being clutch in the playoffs. Like, these things have followed him over the course of his career. Now, he was not brought here to be the guy. He was brought here to be, the guy that works alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. If anything, Paul George at times could have been the third piece. He sure acted like it.
Well, he
at
was.
times.
Remember, you guys were all telling me during the offseason because I was not anti Paul George being here, but I was like, it seemed like a reach.
He fit. He fit well. I didn't want him because of the injuries. Because I didn't
The
want
injuries we didn't like.
I didn't want Joel Embiid's insurance policy to be another guy that is
always out.
is hurt all the time, right? Like that doesn't sound good to me, and it's kind of played out that way this year.
It has.
But from a fit standpoint,
we're not
if they were
NBA
healthy,
executives. We did predict. You know what? I did predict.
We did check. That's a check for
That's
you,
it.
Johnny.
I mean, we did, and so that's what drives me crazy. Is that does common sense not come into play? If some moron like me, and I mean it, if some moron like me with my NBA expertise,
Right.
could see this coming from a mile away, why couldn't a multi-million-dollar operation see it coming?
Well, that's the thing. Like, if I give you, here's Paul George's averages over his 15-year career. 20 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, almost 2 steals a game, shoots 38% from 3. That sounds great.
It does,
But
on paper.
But then when I tell you 48 games, 54 games, 31 games, 56 games.
Until the contract year.
Those are games,
And he
games
played
played.
them all.
Yeah.
Almost.
Oh, he played 74.
He played 74.
Missed a few.
Yeah, he missed a few.
All right, coming up next.
It's amazing.
We'll reset our topic, get back to where we started about the Philadelphia Phillies and whether or not there is buzz heading into the season for you specifically, because I don't necessarily know where it is for a lot of people. Might be different for us. Well, what about you? 610-632-0975. We have today's headlines with Connor Thomas coming up around 8:15. There's a story that John sent in that I have no idea about. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds bring in some new guys. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles made a couple moves in free agency yesterday, adding to the defense. They signed edge rusher Josh Uche and cornerback Adoree Jackson with the new pieces on defense. The Birds are really going to be leaning on Vic Fangio's coaching ability to get all these guys integrated in the system. And Barrett Brooks joined the best show ever yesterday to talk about how big of an asset it is to have a coach like Vic Fangio.
When you have guys that come in and it's a teacher, and that's exactly what Vic Fangio was, that is a huge something that we're not talking about. Vic Fangio's ability to go out there and get these young guys playing at a high level
The Eagles also added tight end depth. They signed Harrison Bryant, so we've still got a little bit more work to do there with the Birds free agency. We'll keep you updated. Flyers took down the Lightning 4-3 in a shootout. Bobby Brink had 2 goals in the game. The Sixers played the Pacers tonight at 7. That game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo.
I do.
7:55 on this Friday morning. Got today's headlines of Connor Thomas coming up around 8:15-ish.
How the Hawks doing outside?
Well, so I was about to bring something up.
Yeah, it's going to be big on social media today.
So we'll reset the show here in a second, but Haley and Brendan, who do a great job with a lot of our work behind the scenes here, they get to sit outside of the studios. They're not like in a studio. They're kind of in like the cubicle area, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Where they actually get to see sunlight and outdoors and nature because due to the NBC Sports Philadelphia broadcast of the best show ever,
we can't have windows.
We can't have windows. We're trapped.
Which, by the way, if we just had blinds, we could.
We're in solitary confinement.
But if we had blinds, we could.
So they get to look outside. And as they're looking outside, they saw a hawk. And this thing is a beautiful hawk.
It's a big, beautiful hawk.
Big, beautiful hawk. Haley actually tweeted out the photo. But what she has not tweeted out yet, or maybe she did post somewhere.
She does this. On it.
It then another hawk joined the party. And they were able to oh yeah, she did post it.
Yeah.
They were able to experience an X-rated edition of Nat Geo with two hawks. So I have a question for you.
Come on. What?
Is there, because I'm anti-PETA. I understand.
I had to confront them on at Temple's campus the other day. I had to deal with a girl.
I love animals.
She was lecturing me on the way into the student center.
I love animals, but when I'm told like don't eat meat,
yeah, forget it.
Well, the poor cow has already been taken to pasture, so like, what am I going to do? Let it waste its life?
Actually, it's been taken out of pasture.
Taken out of pasture. Thank you.
Very good.
Good point. I'm going to. I want to cherish that life. Like, I don't want that life to go to waste. I am going to.
Except today, because it's a Friday in Lent.
Exactly. Good point.
So that fish later on tonight's going.
Yes.
It's dead.
Is there some PETA person that would see that video and be upset because it's an invasion of privacy for the Hawks?
Oh, stop. No.
I'm asking the question. I'm not asking you. I'm asking, would a PETA person be upset with the video being posted?
I don't think so. I don't think someone's going to be waiting outside to pour red paint on Haley for posting it. I don't believe that.
I just wonder.
I'm hoping not.
They might get mad, though, because we have the audio of what the Hawks sounded like.
Hawks, baby.
That's good work.
Knew that drop would come in handy one day.
That's good work.
Shaq did that for the Jumbotron. At the War Eagles.
Oh,
which
really?
is the Marist War Eagles, and they still play it. They still play it on the Jumbotron. Shaq going,
Well, if you're interested,
I like it. That's good social media content.
If you're interested in some X-rated National Geographic footage.
If you ever wonder what Haley and Brendan are doing during the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we
nature watching. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Again, keyword for knockout, 12 days from now, March 26th. You'll get the pair of Sixers-Wizards tickets. And then somebody after the game will be able to play knockout.
It's such a fun event.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. Presented to us by Barlow, Chevrolet, and Delran for honest pricing and dedicated service. Go check them out. 975thefact.com has all of the details. Today's keyword is net, N-E-T.
And if you haven't done it, you would really love to do it. It's a really fun.
Look, and regardless of how the season's playing out, like you get to play basketball on an NBA court, like that's really cool.
And the Sixers allowing us to do it is a great thing.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We really do. I mean, it takes. People have to stay afterward.
Yeah, it's a fun event,
so
too.
I'm not saying us. We're saying like the Sixers personnel have to stay afterward.
Oh, that next morning is tough, though.
All right, so what we've been talking about today, I'm about to leave for Clearwater on Sunday. I'm very excited, right? I get to go down my wife and son. It's going to be a blast. But we've kind of got into the Phillies because the other day, the best show ever was talking about the lack of buzz for the Phillies this season. And we're trying to figure out why. And
are you in any way disagreeing with it?
No, I
because I can't tell if you're when you and Connor speak of it. I don't know if you're disagreeing with it because I'm telling you, there's no there seems no energy.
No, I told you we haven't gotten the tweets of can you guys talk about the Phillies today? Like we have not gotten
yet.
those, and that's how I know there's something up. What I'm trying to do is figure out why that is. Is it because we're still just in the middle of Eagles and NFL mold? Because the NFL has been able to garner the attention of people 24/7, 365 days a year.
Sure.
It's no longer September through February, and then training camp. It's March. It's new league year. It's trades. Trades in the NFL have become more entertaining than trades in Major League Baseball because the players are moving all over the place. You mentioned the salary cap
As the
implications.
cap goes up that much, it allows you much more flexibility
Right.
to do it.
I mean, you see more trades than ever before in the NFL, and they've become a 365-day-a-year league. Like, I think about our man Adam Schefter we talked to on Wednesdays. When is he not busy?
Summertime. When the 2 weeks, the 3 weeks,
But that's when
before
he's going
training camp.
Oh, before training camp.
Before
'Cause
training
he
camp.
goes to the camps to see everything.
Because the NFL literally shuts down its offices. I think it's in something in the CBA. There's a period of time where everybody gets off.
So 21 days out of 365.
You're probably having and I think the Eagles only do it for 14. I think they shut down a 2-week period.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. That's all day, all year, all the time.
Amazing.
And Howie, we read the article about his obsession for football. I forget who wrote it. It might have been Reuben Frank. I forget. Where after the Eagles won maybe the first playoff game against the Packers, he was scouting a Senior Bowl film.
Okay, but that's his.
No, I know. Think about that. But that's how this league operates. It's day in and day out.
Oh, I
and
get
I
you.
wonder, because the Eagles won the Super Bowl, we're talking about the Phillies. We're not talking about Major League Baseball buzz. We're talking about the Phillies. Because the Eagles won the Super Bowl and because the offseason's been as crazy as it's been, as hectic as it's been, maybe there's just the mindset is all on the Eagles, or it's the reverse. It's the other side, which is people are doing the wake me up win.
And I think it's much more of people being a little getting ready to get on that train. Like, I know I'm getting ready to get on that Phillies train where every single night in my house, it'll be dun 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 dun. Dun. We're looking at Pittsburgh. We're looking at St. Louis. It's that every night Phillies. And so we're getting ready to get back on that train. And for a lot of people, last season's ending was very frustrating.
It was.
I was frustrated with last season from June, like the end of June.
Right.
When it just became sort of lackadaisical.
Well, we said it. 2022 was the disappointing end. 2023 was the collapse. 2024 was the failure.
Failure.
That
Absolute
sucks. You're
failure.
coming off of a failed season.
It was. It was. I want to see so much more.
In terms of big picture, 95 wins is amazing.
Right. That's great.
But in terms of big picture, they failed. They lost in the first round of the playoffs to the New York Mets, who you were far better than.
Like, I'm going to ask you both. It is, to me, it means something. I had a conversation the other day, and one of my friends said it doesn't really mean anything to him. I will still think it's really cool when they lift the wild card, the divisional banner.
Yeah.
I didn't like that wild card banner. Went away.
I don't like the wild card banner either.
The flag went away.
Yeah.
It went away. I think I will be excited to see that go up. Like, see a division championship. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah, over 162 games.
That's an
absolutely.
accomplishment, and those are very, very memorable in your head.
Right.
A buddy of mine was like, I don't care. Says I don't care. I'd rather be the wild card and be celebrating.
You were also in Atlanta when they won 13 straight divisions, right?
Them.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it might mean a little bit more to you.
Yeah, I like the division titles. I like seeing them.
What are the people saying on the text line this morning, Connor?
All right, we have a check-in here from Gina from Southwest Florida,
Hello,
I believe.
Gina.
It's SWFL, the abbreviation.
Yes,
there.
it is.
But she says, no buzz. First year since the World Series in 2022 where I'm squarely in the I'll care when the playoffs get here camp. They rolled back the same team. No small ball, bad base running, good starting pitching, ho-hum.
She's a smart girl, though. I can tell you that.
I
Or
disagree.
lady. I don't know what age she is.
Well, no.
She's smart.
I understand. She basically is saying, wake me up when. And that's like the majority of our texts we've been getting today.
But she's saying this organization, and I question it big time.
You do.
They're doubling down on, no, we're going to be fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. The fact that our approach sucks. Don't worry about it. When they've had to admit the manager, the hitting coach, and the boss, the president, have all had to be quoted numerous times saying, if we can get player buy-in. Buy-in. They're telling them what they want them to do. They're telling them how to approach the game, and they're ignoring it. They're ignoring it.
Let's see how it plays out.
No, but I mean, it's like, we need player buy-in. For God's sakes, these guys are having to beg guys making 10, 20, 30 million a year to follow the plan, and they haven't done it. And it's on the record. When a guy says to me, yeah, it'd be really great if we could just get John to buy in. No, that's it. That's a big indictment. That is a major indictment.
By the way,
It sucks.
I don't really value spring training numbers.
Right.
They don't matter remotely.
Trey Turner, again, he hit a home run yesterday.
Okay.
And it was great. Great swing, great hit. And when he's rounding the bases, Tom McCarthy goes, and that's his second hit of the spring. Oh, second? Oh, boy.
You know why you shouldn't care remotely about that? Like, anyone who looks at that and says, oh, Trey Turner, watch out. What did he do the spring training before his awful year with the Phillies, the worst
He
year?
batted like 400.
He
Yeah,
was
he
the
did the
greatest
World
World
Baseball
Baseball Classic
Yeah,
hitter on the
yeah.
planet.
No, I know.
It doesn't matter.
I said,
And you know
I
what's the
don't
big key
value
about
it.
that is the World Baseball Classic didn't matter.
Did
Yeah,
for
but
me.
spring training doesn't
It
either.
did for
World
some.
Baseball
It did for
Classic
some.
matters more than spring training.
No, but I mean, it
Significantly.
doesn't matter though. It's not a. It's an
does.
exhibition.
I love the World
That's great.
Baseball
No, it's fun. No, it can be fun to watch.
It
and
doesn't
everything,
matter to
absolutely.
you, John.
But it's an exhibition.
It matters to us.
No, it's an exhibition, is what I'm saying.
Right, and
A
to
game
you, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It matters as far as your entertainment value. It doesn't matter. You approach things differently when there's no pressure on you. When there's no pressure, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I think Shohei Ohtani versus Mike Trout with the World Baseball Classic on the line might have had a little pressure to it.
I think those two were laughing as they're approaching each other in the box.
By the
They
way,
were smiling and laughing at each other.
you were out. It was incredible timing.
What was that?
Matthew Tkachuk done for the season, right? Getting hurt in the
He is done for the season.
in the
Shouldn't have
four,
played in that Four
in the
Nations
four,
face-off.
in the Four Nations.
Hey, there's a difference because the league, that's a league event. That's a league event.
It's an
not-
exhibition.
It's not,
But it's ultimate exhibition.
It
He
is
didn't
but it is a league.
It's a league
event.
exhibition.
It's not the NBA.
He could have opted out
He could have.
if he really cared about
His
the
team,
big.
and you know what? His team wanted him to do it.
If he really cared about the Florida Panthers, he would have sat out.
No,
Johnny.
his team wanted him to do it. So you guys are thinking you're spiking the football.
No, we are, and you're just not letting
No,
us.
it takes 2 minutes to do your research.
I'm Gronk spiking this one.
This isn't the Olympics.
Does
You're
Matthew
back so far
Tkachuk
into a
really
corner.
This
care?
is not the Olympics. This is a
You're right, it
league-sponsored
matters
event.
less.
Who should
No,
you
it
care
doesn't.
more about, your country or your team?
Or your league.
610-632.
Or the team that pays your bills. Come on.
Well,
Pathetic.
today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Turn
comes
off
your
the
way
lights
next.
in that Embiid
It's
room when you go
Kincade
out.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico, and Silvana Keller.
on this Friday morning. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic, Championship Friday.
Getaway day for you.
Yeah, but I sprint to the finish, Johnny.
That's what we do in this show and
As
this
we
house.
talked about. I'm not even done after the show. I just gave the read. I got the event tonight at the Conchi's Corner Tavern, which I'm looking forward to from
I have
6
not
to 8.
been to Conchi's Corner. I think it may have been rebranded. I got to check that
I've
place out.
never been there as well.
I love that stretch in Conshohocken, though. It's great what they've done with it. They've done a great job with it.
And I've gone to a bunch of Great American Pub. I love that.
Great American
there in
Pub's
Conchi.
great.
My friends over at Flacco's Shoes and Clothing. That's where I got my tuxedo
Really?
for my wedding.
Really?
Yeah. So I know. I mean, I lived in Manayunk. It's right.
Sure, it's
I hop
hop,
on the
skip, and a jump.
I hop on the train. I'm there in 2 minutes. So it's a fun spot to be. So I'm looking forward to being there tonight. All right, we have today's headlines coming up in a minute. Let's get one more text in before we get to that, because I do want to hear from the people about this Phillies discussion and whether or not you have buzz going into the season. And if you don't have it, if you're not fired up, what's keeping you from it? Is it because you're just still so focused on the Eagles, or because nobody can say, oh, well, the Sixers and Flyers have my attention? I know that's not true. So it's either the Eagles have your
people
attention.
are still watching them.
Right, no,
but they're not
I mean,
watching them the same way.
Right. I mean, you're not focused on the Phillies yet because you're focused on the Sixers and Flyers. I know
Not
that's
happening.
not the case. What are the people saying on the text line?
All right, no name on this one. First-time texter, by the way. And they say,
good.
aside from the fact that the Phillies didn't do anything to better their lineup and solve their swing and miss issues, I think the Dodgers' signings and spending has put a damper on all things baseball heading into the season.
So I remember we've discussed this, you and I, on post-show headlines, which we do on YouTube every single day after the
enjoy
show.
that, too. A
Check
lot
it
of
out.
fun.
Search post-show headlines, Kincade and Salciunas. We appreciate everybody that's been a part of it. We're doing a special one today.
We are 5 questions from listeners. By the way, ended up yesterday going through them. I have 19, and I apologize again to the people who DM'd questions for post-show
Well,
headlines.
the Instagram, it's like
I didn't realize-
the requested
Exactly,
DMs.
exactly.
Connor checks his every single day.
I do.
We don't.
You can DM me. I'll answer.
Jeff Passan wrote an article, brilliant article, about the incredible offseason of the Dodgers.
It's high praise. I like that.
Jeff Passan's really good.
Really good writer.
He basically wrote the Dodgers season upcoming will either hurt or help or hurt baseball.
How could it help?
You can watch a team be dominant all season long, which is fun. And then if they lose in the playoffs, God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you,
if they
too.
lose in the playoffs, it's all right. Anything's possible.
We just got to be in the mix.
Right. If they win,
It's going to be terrible.
it's what's the point?
It's horrendous for baseball. If the Dodgers win 108 games and then win the World Series, it is terrible for the sport.
Yeah.
And it is a sport that if you don't understand the finances of it, and you listen to Pico Business of Sports, Major League Baseball broadcast carrier networks are collapsing into bankruptcy
Yeah.
around a lot of this country because there are fan bases and everything that just aren't going to it. We don't live in one of them.
Right.
We live in a great one. But there are many that have just collapsed. The teams had to go scramble for
Tampa.
somebody to get it.
The Rays just announced they're not building their new stadium.
They
They just canceled all their plans.
it's unbelievable.
All right. Time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Brought to us by whom?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers, visit lundylaw.com. That's lundylaw.com. So we're going to start out with, we've got a couple baseball stories actually in today's headlines, and this one is the one that John sent me. So the Marlins are doing something interesting. They're creating...
They're going to open sell tickets?
They're going to create a practice squad. So they're putting out a call for former collegiate and former professional baseball players to go down and try out for this practice squad that will be there at the same time as one of their minor league teams and just be available for game day if they need to get called up so they can get developmental work. And hey, who knows, maybe even get a play in professional baseball.
How about that?
Wait.
So you're going to play against their minor leaguers.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're going to play against their minor leaguers, and you may get signed.
Yeah, if you
by
impress
Fred.
enough.
Now, what was that a cost, Connor, per day
The cost per day...
that you're getting paid?
let me go ahead and pull up the
I
actual
think it's
tweet.
$150 a day.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
$150 a day, but you're talking about their outfitting you,
Yeah.
uniform. You're not getting your name on
Listen,
your
I know
uniform.
guys that made less than that playing in the Pecos League.
Right?
Can you send me that story?
Yeah.
You know
Not for
somebody?
me. I know somebody, yeah.
Really? Southwest Florida?
Dude, I'm right here. If you just want to tell me to do
You
it,
got
I'll
to be
do
in
it.
Southwest Florida, though, right?
Nah.
Or Southern Florida.
Yeah, you got to be available on game days down in South Florida.
I've told you about my man Mike Hughes.
Yeah, but he's not in South Florida, though, right? Or is he?
He would not mind relocating.
Really?
Okay, well,
For
shoot it to him.
$150, it's 13
Just look it
days.
up on Twitter.
It's
It's all over
13
the
or
place.
14 days a year.
Worth a dream, man. Why not? All right,
Absolutely.
Oh, I can imagine all the Harry
I'd do it.
Hard-ons that are
yeah.
today waking
No,
up
this-
going, I missed my chance.
This guy's
Worst
legit.
case for the Marlins, they end up with a
I think-
Disney film with Mark Wahlberg.
I think
So,
cousin Matt right now is saying I still got a few innings left in my St. Joe's pitching arm.
This guy's legit. What do we got?
We also have a little bit of an update. I know people are worried about the Phillies bullpen this year, but you should be a little bit more worried about the Minnesota Golden Gophers bullpen. I'm not sure if you guys saw what they did, but they set an NCAA record
A record.
in a bad way. They let up back to back to back to back to back home runs. They let up five straight home runs.
Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you watched them. These were rockets.
they're nukes.
This wasn't Jesus
It was
Luzardo.
at U.S. Bank Stadium. They were playing in the
At the
Viking
Viking
Stadium.
yeah.
Where they set up a baseball field. They used to do it with the old Metrodome up
Yeah.
there in Minnesota.
Dude,
as well.
these things were not. They weren't gimme home run. They went out.
Way out.
Really?
Yeah, dude. These were rockets.
5 in a row?
Metal bat helps, but these were rockets.
I don't
Yes.
think I've ever seen. I know I have. I don't remember seeing 3 in a row. I know it's happened.
I think the Phillies did that
no, I
last
know
year.
it's happened, but
Yeah.
I can't remember it. It wasn't that memorable that I go, remember that night we saw 3 in a row? 5 in a row? Are you kidding me?
July 2nd, 2022. The Cardinals did against the Phillies. They did 4 in a row.
Oh my gosh.
Nolan Arenado, Nolan Gorman, Juan Yepes, and Dylan Carlson. Went off Kyle Gibby. My man.
Kyle Gibson.
Oh, my
what do you
gosh.
say? It actually wasn't terrible here. But
It wasn't.
yeah, the Minnesota Golden Gophers bullpen, not great. That's a tough day at the ballpark. We'll round out with a quick replay of something we talked about earlier.
If you did say no, that you don't feel the same buzz that you usually do for the Phillies, is it the Super Bowl hangover or is it a hangover from past failures?
I got to be honest. Now, I got more buzz than the average person for the Philadelphia Phillies, and part of that is what I do. And part of that is just that I'm a huge baseball guy. But comparatively to my normal level of excitement for a baseball season, I've got less this year. And for me,
Why is that?
It's definitely because of the Eagles. It's so hard not to spend every waking moment thinking about that football team, what they accomplished, what they have the chance to still accomplish, what they are working on. They've had a very interesting start to their offseason. Like, I haven't gotten past the Eagles story. I wake up every day thinking about 40 to 22.
But opening day, you will still share a Kona
Oh,
with
yeah.
us.
And I'm
we'll be
excited.
having Kona drafts.
Oh, yeah,
with
we
you.
will be.
I will not. I will not be drinking still that month. I'm still in my sober month.
Wait a minute, it's March 31st. Give it up.
I'm doing dry half of March
Okay,
and start
give
of
it up.
April.
Oh, are you really? Hey, it's opening day.
No, I'm sorry.
All right.
But
I'm
I
a
get it. Yeah, I
committed
mean,
man.
look,
I
the
admire your
Eagles,
dedication.
The Eagles have deserved your frontal lobe. They just have. But,
And his frontal lobe is fully developed.
yes.
By the way, Haley's
barely.
just fully developed.
No, it's fully developed, Connor.
it doesn't
we're
fully
not
develop
saying,
here at
But we're not
26.
saying how well it's developed. But
Yes.
it is fully. It's not going to develop anymore.
Oh, I don't think it's developing anymore.
By the
Definitely
way,
not listening to you.
That's why he
two.
needs
By
a
the
dry
way-
month.
the Minnesota Golden Gophers will be brought up again
Really?
in today's show.
What?
Different sport. Later on the
Ooh.
9 o'clock hour.
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually kind of excited to have this conversation with you guys later. But coming up next, Eagles fans, we obviously have had a lot of fun winning the Super Bowl and all that good stuff. We can also have fun laughing at the Dallas Cowboys. That's all I'm going to say. If you missed it on social media yesterday, the turmoil in Dallas continues. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
More free agency moves. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds added to their roster again yesterday, signing a couple defensive players. Edge rusher Josh Uche and cornerback Adoree Jackson come to the squad. And with the new pieces coming in on defense to replace some of the guys the Eagles are losing, Vic Fangio is once again going to have to integrate them into his defensive system. But Barrett Brooks joined the best show ever yesterday and discussed why Vic Fangio has proven he's more than capable to do so.
When you have guys that come in and it's a teacher, and that's exactly what Vic Fangio was, that is a huge something that we're not talking about. Vic Fangio's ability to go out there and get these young guys playing at a high level.
It wasn't just the defense the Eagles added to. They also brought in tight end depth, signing Harrison Bryant. So still more work to do for the Birds, but they're getting things going. We'll keep you updated. Flyers took down the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-3 in a shootout last night. Bobby Brink had 2 goals in the game. Sixers play the Pacers tonight at 7. That game will be live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Moyer Indoor Outdoor Services. Follow Andrew Salciunas' lead and get a jump on a lush green lawn this spring. pricing right now. Go to eMoyer.com for free estimates. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can still hear all your favorite Fanatic shows no matter where you go.
Connor's attire has been a big topic of conversation for Haley and Brendan today. If you're watching on our YouTube feed, I'm dressed like I'm about to bring a fungo out to the field and start hitting grounders. I got like the warm up jacket over the long sleeves and the joggers, and Connor looks like he's Big Dom.
Connor does look like Big Dom.
He's got the chain. He's got the
I mean,
Connie
seriously.
Tomasello today back here.
he's got the tracksuit with the Eagle logo.
That's right.
All you're missing is like the Italian flag on the pat.
You're
patch.
the coach. I'm the get back coach.
Yeah.
And
John, you're Dave Dombrowski. No, that's Joe Z. That's Joe
Josie. Josie is Dave Dombrowski.
Yeah.
You could bring him. Our own Brendan Petrilli answering our, this morning about the buzz, and he says the Phillies are winning the World Series. Now I love Brendan Petrilli.
He says that every year.
Yeah, but I don't need to hear it from him because he's one of those two
Orioles
teams.
frauds.
He's one of those two teams people.
Yeah, I don't respect Brendan Petrilli's baseball acumen.
I think he understands the game, but he's one of those people that's going to be like, "Yay, Orioles won! Yay, Phillies won!" None of that crap.
Yeah, he's got an NL team, AL team.
You pick a team.
You would never do that, Mr. Seattle Mariners.
Pick a team.
Yeah, and then I turned 7.
But you're not rooting for them. He doesn't come in here like going. If you talk about, hey, the Seattle Mariners, man, right now they're 4 games out of the wild card.
Nope.
No, you don't.
Who's a better player, Ichiro or Jimmy Rollins?
There we go.
Ichiro's in the Hall of Fame.
Seattle fan.
Ichiro's in the Hall of
Checkmate.
Fame. And he was 1 vote away from being unanimous.
I know.
Because some reporter had to be.
And by the way, has he outed himself out yet?
No.
No, of course not. Coward.
Never will.
All right. So yesterday was a very fun day if you're an Eagles fan and you are clinically online, like some of us are, when we're always looking for topics and content.
Sure.
So Dexter Lawrence is a new member of the Seattle Seahawks. He is no longer with the Dallas Cowboys. Not Dexter Lawrence.
DeMarcus.
Lawrence. Sorry.
Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence is now with the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
He is no longer with the Dallas Cowboys. So DeMarcus Lawrence did his first media hit. He didn't do it wasn't a press conference. It was just a one-on-one meeting with somebody that covers the Seahawks.
I love it.
Take a listen to what he had to say when he was being interviewed yesterday.
Dallas is my home. I made my home there. My family lives there. I'm forever going to be there. But, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there.
That
It's
is
so candid. And
amazing.
And he loves Dallas. This guy loves the community. He loves
my
Dallas.
home. My family's there. I imagine when he retires, he will probably still live in the area.
Now, who's going to be the one to tell him?
That they're not going to win in Seattle either?
He's not winning any Super Bowl in Seattle either.
Yeah, you're not winning in Seattle.
That was a funny punchline if it came from somebody joining, maybe saying, I'm joining the Bills.
The Eagles.
I'm joining the Eagles. I'm
Yeah.
joining the Baltimore Ravens
Yeah.
or something. You're joining the Seattle Seahawks.
But that is amazing that he just straight up says, yeah, I'm not winning a Super Bowl. I hope Cowboys fans are crying themselves to sleep after watching that video. Now,
Makes me laugh so much.
speaking of clinically online, Micah Parsons is just that.
He cannot put his phone down.
And he saw the video, and so he chimed in on social media
What do you have to say?
saying, this is what rejection and envy looks like. This some clown bleat.
Envy? Micah Parsons. Now, I'm not sure what class they put you through at Penn State. You may have been a great student. You may have been one of those guys, taking the path to stay eligible. But if he doesn't understand, if he thinks anybody is envying a member of the Dallas Cowboys organization, they're one of the worst sports organizations.
Yes.
We're hitting 30. They're coming up on 30 years next January. And we're going to have a celebration that day. We're going to commemorate the date. 30 years since they played in the Final Four. Now, the Sixers even are starting to sweat. They're saying there's a team worse than us
I know.
at getting to the Final Four.
Now, here's what's amazing.
What's that?
So, first off, DeMarcus Lawrence played 11 seasons with the Cowboys. Rejection, dude was there for 11 years. If they rejected him, that means he would have been gone after year 4 or 5, 6, 7,
Yes.
8, 9.
He tried his backside off
Played 11
to
seasons.
be successful for the Dallas Cowboys.
DeMarcus Lawrence responded on social media.
Ooh, I didn't see the response.
Oh, you didn't see the response?
No,
Oh,
I didn't.
dude.
Okay.
I just told you, clinically online, right?
Yes, clinically online.
DeMarcus Lawrence responds, calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left.
I love it. And it's a thing where whoever gets, like, if Aaron Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh, the players that cannot literally get out of the public eye for 2 seconds, cannot stop, put the damn phone down, they're a detriment to a team.
Yeah.
It is, because people it does not go over well. And that's really not cool. That's not cool. I love it.
I just love I love that somebody's called out like that. And like it's even more enjoyable for us because it's the Cowboys. But like I love that if that's any team. Like, hey, if you spent less time online, like we've seen Eagles players that needed to hear that message, like Jalen Reagor who by the way re-signed with the Chargers because there was a market for him. Like there are people that spend way too much time online, and it clearly it impacts them. It affects them.
Well, no, and again, I say it to A.J. Brown with all love because I love A.J. Brown, the player, and I'm so glad he's here. But A.J. Brown is someone who has publicly shared his mental health struggles because of social media.
Yeah.
And and what does he do? He bathes in it still every day. It's like that is like an alcoholic. Yeah. That is like a drug addict. You cannot stop. But you pity the fact that you're like, look, I can't, my mental health, my happiness in life is all affected by it. You got to put it down. Put the damn phone down. It's not hard. I put a phone down for an entire week.
Yeah.
For an entire week.
It's not that hard.
Put it on the nightstand, and then 7 days later, I could tweet it. I sent out a tweet again.
Yeah. By the way,
it's not hard. It is not hard to do.
Nobody thinks Kenneth Gainwell has an issue. Remember, he was responding to a guy. Now, the guy was a total D.
The guy was being a total
But it was during halftime. Like, he's checking his DMs at halftime. Like, yo, dude, you got to stop. Don't do that. That's not good. I love that DeMarcus Lawrence. That's a great line. After he says, I love Dallas, but I was never going to win a Super Bowl there, he then calls out Micah Parsons for being online too much. Now, look, Micah Parsons is a tremendous player. Twitter is not impacting his play.
Micah Parsons has not been good when the lights are the brightest.
Well, that could be part of it.
The biggest games he's played in his NFL career, he's been a ghost.
That sounds like a DNA thing.
Sounds like it to me, too.
That's amazing.
Good.
I love it. Great. And by the way, Micah never responded.
Well, he got punked.
Big time.
He got punked. I thought when you said he responded, I thought for sure the response was going to be, strange, man. You didn't show up for those playoff games we were in.
No, he just straight up called him out online.
I love that.
And Micah never responded.
I love that.
We'll see if he does at some point today, or he'll probably do it on his podcast.
Oh, I'm sure he'll try to punk him there.
He'll put out a tweet later today. Guarantee. You know how CT18 guarantees hit?
100%.
I guarantee you he'll put out the tweet saying, I'll respond today on whatever his podcast.
Tune in later.
Whatever his podcast is called.
Oh, how about
and then
this?
He'll put the clip out.
How about always available in early January podcast?
Yes.
That should be the name that should be the name of his podcast. And by the way, it's not very well done. It's very on the level of player podcasts.
Yeah,
it's mediocre.
Well,
as far as he needs a little execution.
Bleacher Report loves him. Clearly, they pay him a lot of money. Coming up next, speaking of available, Makai Becton is still available.
He is.
There were conflicting reports earlier in this week, and as the week continues, he continues to be unsigned. And it goes back to something that I questioned, and I just wonder, is there still a chance? We'll discuss that a little bit more coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Sixers win. Play that song.
The Philadelphia.
Text line here momentarily as we continue to talk about the buzz going into the Philly season. But obviously, Eagles offseason is still a big topic of conversation. And that's why I want to bring up Makai Becton for a moment here, because he is still out there.
Are you surprised?
Yes and no.
Yeah, you see, now that's how it's so weird you said that answer. We didn't talk about it before. That's my answer. It's like, part of me says, why are you surprised, John? And then part of me says, yeah, I am surprised still, though.
So the reason why I'm not surprised, and I said this to you guys before legal tampering opened up, are teams going to go after him as a guard or a tackle? He's played.
And I told you that I thought nobody would go after him as a tackle.
And I agree with you because
it's not proven.
He did not. But does 1 year as a guard for Jeff Stoutland, which does, I believe, I would imagine that takes some sort of weight for people.
I think it's like getting a college degree. For him, it's as if he got a college degree from a great university.
Right.
And now you're bringing him in and you're going, okay, he's learned some things.
Right. But can he continue to play at that level without him? Right? Like, we've seen linemen leave here and not be great.
Yes, we have.
I saw Halapoulivaati Vaitai win a Super Bowl, thank you, as the left tackle of the Philadelphia Eagles, and then he goes to Detroit, gets paid, and now he's bounced around as a tackle, guard, swing tackle.
But you saw the leader of the Steelers' defensive line.
Isaiah
Offensive line.
Yep, we've seen him play very well.
He's the leader of the Steelers, in Mike Tomlin's own words.
Yep.
He's their leader.
Absolutely. So I've seen guys leave and not be successful. I've seen guys leave and be successful. But this is a different situation because he was a tackle, moved to guard, and was spectacular at guard. Are you going to pay him? Will Fries, who DeCecco mentioned earlier this week, got $80 million. That's
I'm not giving Makai Becton that money.
4 years, $80 million for a guard who's only done it 1 year. Or are you giving a tackle money? And now if you're Makai Becton, is it going to become another prove-it deal with another team?
Or are you willing to come back here
for less
on a deal for less?
And with all due respect to Tyler Steen and Kenyon Green,
I want him in that mix.
I want Becton.
So do I. I don't know whether it'll be or not.
So the question is, the longer this goes, is that better or worse for the Eagles? I can only imagine it's better because the number is going to continue to drop.
And where's Big Fred? I don't know if my man Fred is coming back.
With all due respect, I
want him back. Though,
I know you guys were taking. You guys were ripping shots.
We were not. Just for record.
I don't know what the market is for Fred Johnson. He was
no, but I'm hoping he's here.
No, me too. Me too.
And he's cheap.
I'm just saying. Here. I don't think. I can't imagine Fred Johnson's getting like all the eyes in the world outside of Philadelphia.
No, exactly.
Know. So
another guy that I hope stays though in a good situation.
Me too. But when it comes to Becton, like the longer this goes, so Shefty, when he first joined us like a couple of weeks ago, said he thought there was a real chance. Then he kind of changed his tune.
Yeah, and they like literally changed his tune.
But then Rappaport, even though I'm Team Shefty, joins us every single Wednesday, Rappaport said this week, hold on a second, that I believe they are still in the mix for Becton. So we're getting conflicting reports from like the two lead guys, the two lead insiders from the NFL.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because guards have gotten paid this offseason. Like the money getting thrown at guards this offseason higher than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So you got to decide if you're going to pay a guy who may not be prime at that position or what position he's going to play. So it's a combination of both the market and the questions about what position he's best.
And we talk about him being a product of Stalin. He could have also been a product of Lane Johnson being right next to him.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Like, I think that would make him more attractive to teams, though, if the number being paid to guards is so outrageous. We know he can't demand those outrageous numbers.
Why not?
Because he can't. No one's paying that. No team is paying.
That may have been the starting. Hey, this is what
he may think that he could, but he's not in that. He's not. If any NFL general manager is doing that, they're basing it off of 1 year,
right?
With one. No,
and
but that's the decision you got to make, and he has the right to demand that based on the way he played this past year.
He can demand anything he wants, but the thing is, you go into a job, Connor, with your whole job resume, and his job resume is 4 years of failure and then that.
At tackle. But his job resume.
I understand.
Hold on. So what did Will Fries just get? He got 4 for 80, right?
4 for 80.
I just want to confirm that. Will Fries got $88 million. Here's Will Fries' career. All with the Colts. 3 games as a backup tackle in his rookie season.
Right.
9 starts as a guard. 17 starts, it says, as offensive lineman in 2023.
Yeah, he bounced. He flipped left, right, I thought.
Yep. And then last year, only played 5 games because of injury.
Right. But he flipped.
No Pro Bowls, no nothing.
No. But he flipped, too. He's one of those guys who can play left, right. He's already shown that. He's coming off an injury. He's getting like an A.J. Dillon thing, but with more, they're believing more in that position.
Yeah, but like an A.J. Dillon thing is 88 mil.
You can't compare that to Makai Becton.
You absolutely can.
That resume blows Makai Becton's away before he came to Philadelphia.
I don't know that that's true. Well, you can't say before he came to Philadelphia because now that data point is on the stat sheet.
Because he's the only reason here he's even going is because of injury. I mean, it's one of the reasons is that they're passing. The Colts didn't have the money and injury. They made it clear that, hey, if you could come back at a good price, we'd want you. They weren't going to pay him.
You got $88 million from a team that's spending a lot of money this offseason, the Minnesota Vikings. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be...
Vikings, a good team that sort of knows what they're doing personnel-wise, sees him and says, I want him. They weren't calling Makai Becton.
Well, we don't know that they didn't call him.
No, but they're not calling it. No, because if they had offered Makai Becton that money, he'd be there.
Right, but we don't know that they didn't call him.
No, but he'd be the choice. He wasn't the choice. There are a lot of smart organizations that know the lines of scrimmage, and they're not calling Makai Becton because his price must be too high or he's not getting calls. It's one of two answers.
And look,
guys don't want to linger in free agency. They want this to be done.
Yeah.
They don't want to go, I'm willing to play this thing out. No, the only reason you play something out is because someone didn't open the bank to you and say, sign on the dotted line. That's the only reason.
I would love to see him back, man.
I would love to see him back. And I'm rooting for him, too.
Our man Raider Frank checks in.
Okay.
Did not know this.
What's that?
Will Fries will be the future son-in-law of Chris Terrian.
Oh, no.
Really?
He's marrying Bundy's daughter this summer.
Really?
How about that from Raider Frank?
Well, then he owes all Bundy's money. He's got all Bundy's money, too, and that money?
Yeah, by the way,
I think Bundy has Will Fries' money now.
Yeah, the Makai Becton thing, it's not going to happen for the Birds.
Why do you say
that? It's not, because we've had everybody tell us they're shedding salary.
I know.
There's no, what is the lowest Makai Becton could realistically get? 60 mil?
The longer you stay on the free agent market, who knows?
And by the way, it could be another 1-year deal.
And Connor, a lot of guys who go, we end up saying, I can't believe they signed for that.
Yeah, I would be shocked if Makai Becton's an Eagle.
I would agree with you too. Yeah. I would be shocked. Would you put it at your 100%?
No,
exactly.
It's not a CT.
It's not a CT 18
guarantee.
No, I only put my guarantees on guarantees.
It's that to me is I would be shocked if he came back, but I believe the market is ice cold, because players when they're coming off a year like that, they want to sign as fast as possible.
Yeah, but I find it near impossible to believe that a guy that just had that year has an ice-cold market. I don't think it's as hot as he thinks it is.
I think it's the question of who is he? Is he a guard? Is he a tackle? Is he a guard based off of the team that he played around him? Is he...
He may have pulled...
It's interesting.
He may have pulled the tackle thing, too, to people saying, well, now I want to be paid as a tackle. And they're like, well, wait a minute. You stunk as a tackle. You were... arguably one of the worst.
Did he stink because he's with the Jets? Like, that's another, like...
Well, then that's a cop-out to me. That's a total cop-out.
Dude, honestly, I don't know if it can be. The Jets are
I think it's cop-out. He was so fundamentally poor, so you're going to blame it on your coaching? You're going to blame it on everybody else?
I think that's fair.
I don't know.
Look, if Kenyon Green becomes some stud here, then maybe it is because of coaching.
It does. No, I believe Stoutland University is a real thing. I do.
Coming up next, we reset today's topics. I mentioned it earlier. Connor had a Minnesota Golden Gopher story in headlines. I got another one for you in the 9 o'clock hour. And it could lead to a problem in, like, collegiate programming.
What? Really?
The Minnesota story, not necessarily, but then it'll lead to another one. Like, there was 2 wild college program stories yesterday that I can't wait to get to later on the show. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sports Update.
Eagles ad on the edge. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. Play your favorite casino games and bet sports on the BetParks app. You love to play, you play to win, you bet BetParks. Must be 21 and in PA or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Eagles added to the edge position yesterday in free agency, signing Josh Uche. They also added to the defensive backs room with Adoree Jackson joining the team. And with these new pieces coming onto the defense to replace the guys we knew and loved from last year's team, Vic Fangio's coaching ability is once again going to be put to the test. But Barrett Brooks joined the best show ever yesterday to talk about why Fangio is perfect for the job.
When you have guys that come in and it's a teacher, and that's exactly what Vic Fangio was, that is a huge, huge something that we're not talking about. Vic Fangio's ability to go out there and get these young guys playing at a high level.
Also applies to some of the young players stepping into roles this year. The Eagles added tight end depth as well, signing Harrison Bryant. They've still got more work to do in free agency, so we'll keep you updated. Flyers took down the Lightning 4-3 in a shootout. Bobby Brink had 2 goals in the contest. Sixers are playing the Pacers tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Their instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
DM or an email or a tweet?
It is a DM. My DMs are open. People send me them on Twitter.
John just
So
got.
you get to me there.
We'll get to it right
We will.
to
We'll
start
get to
9 o'clock. It's an insane DM, and it makes me question fandom. We'll get to that coming up in a few minutes. But again, here's what we're talking about today. The Philadelphia Phillies, 13 days away from opening day. And we're
It's right
wondering,
around the corner.
We're wondering, where's the buzz at? So do you, specifically, you listening right now, do you have the buzz for Phillies baseball? And if not, why is it? Like, is it because maybe you're just still so Eagle-focused, or have past disappointments for the Phillies sort of diminish your excitement? A lot of our texts so far this morning, the majority of our texts so far this morning, have told us that they are in the wake me up when mode. Now, that disappoints me because baseball's a long season, so that means you're not going to really pay attention. I mean, truly pay attention until October. That's 7 months from now. A long time from now. All right, baseball season starts in 13 days. You're not going to pay attention for 7 months? That's kind of disappointing. But I also understand.
That's dumb to me.
But I knew that.
And I think it's a lie.
But I sensed that it was coming.
I think it's
this
a
year.
lie.
This was the year that I sensed that was coming. Because last year, going into the year, there was buzz. And, I remember you rolling your eyes when I was in spring training, and I talked to a lot of players on the air and off the air, coaches, you name it. And there was an attitude. They were pissed off with what happened against the Diamondbacks.
They were.
Hell, I was pissed off with what happened against the
They
Diamondbacks.
said they were. They said it was never, and they also said never, not going to happen again.
And then they come
We're
out
correcting it.
They come out the gate on fire,
smoking through mid-June,
and then it just stopped.
That stupid London trip.
Yeah.
You could put a wall, a big, beautiful wall, on that season last year.
They went 1-1.
And the minute that London trip, and they blew the second game.
Yeah.
The minute that London trip ended, and then the Mets season takes off, and the Phillies season goes in the crapper.
Yeah.
It's as if something happened in London. Bad things happen in London.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I remember the iconic Harper home run.
Yeah, with the
soccer
soccer slide.
And it's
the
like
soccer slide.
everything was going beautifully.
It was beautiful. He blew that game.
And then it just ended. And then after that, the season kept on going downhill. And then all the issues that you were worried about going into the playoffs came to light. Yeah, Schwarber hits a leadoff home run in game one. We're like, all right. And that was it for that game.
Which, by the way, he bats leadoff in every single postseason series opener forever for me, whether it's Trey Turner or not, because he's going to go yard. He does it every time.
Wait, so what you're saying is game one, Schwarber
Not
bats leadoff.
not necessarily game one does he hit it, though, but he hit game
No,
two.
he said opener.
No, but
Game
no,
one against Arizona.
No, he wants him in there. Wasn't
Game
it game
one
two
against Atlanta. Game one against the Mets.
Game two in San Diego.
San Diego, yeah. That one was a freaking.
That was an amazing one.
That thing that put Stairs to shame.
That
With
wasn't. I'm
home
wrong
run.
about that. That wasn't a leadoff. The one in San Diego.
Oh, it was just later on.
I
in the
think it
game
was
at
his
some
second
point.
at bat. Yeah. I remember they all went.
Yeah, because Yu Darvish were cruising. They took him to the longest part of that park.
Yeah, that thing was a damn missile. So yeah, there is a lack of buzz. So give us a text. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. What are the people saying in response? And then we will read the DM that John just got. That
It's pretty crazy.
It infuriates me.
All right, so Steven's down in D.C., and he's going to opening day. He's a Phillies fan. And he says, I'm not excited for the Phillies yet, but I'm going to the opening game, and I'm sure the excitement will ramp up a few days before that. I think we're just in a weird point in the sports calendar with what the Eagles did.
And I think a lot of it's the Eagles, but think about it. We do oh man, we're just 2 Sundays away from the first Eagles game. Have you heard we're just 13 days away from the Phillies other than this show today?
Yeah, but baseball is also inherently different with how many games there are.
Yeah, but opening day it's a holiday.
For some people.
For me.
Oh, for the city it is.
For a lot of people, but there's also people who don't look at the Phillies the way they look at the Eagles. Even in a normal year, the Eagles could have 5 wins, and the Phillies could go to the NLCS, and people will still be more excited for the Eagles.
Yeah,
and that's just
but
reality
if
of the
it's
city.
a 5-win Eagle team, they're not though.
And here's the thing: if
they're more engaged, maybe with the negativity.
In years past, there were countdowns for Sixer seasons. When they were still in the good graces of people, there used to still be oh my God, we're a week away from the start of the Sixer season. It's gonna be so much fun. Can't wait. There hasn't really been that much of the Phillies so far this year. And is anything?
Understandable.
I'll ask it. I'll just throw it out there. Does anything have to do that they're starting on the road?
No,
no.
Not at all.
Now we'll be, and they're starting on the road, and I know Philly Sports Trips is doing a takeover.
Hell yeah, they are.
And I'll be down there on Saturday to take care of business.
Who, by the way, I'm hanging out with Philly Sports Trips in Clearwater. Can't wait. Shout out
Boy,
to
that's
them.
a really that's a terrible thing. That's a real sacrifice on your part.
Yeah, they're awesome. Love
They're
Vince.
so great.
Vince Rizzuto, the best. All right, read this DM, Connor. When he read it to me, I was I was upset.
It's a bit of a manifesto.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to, I sort of summarized it here a little bit there, but I'm going to thank Anthony and Jake. Anthony, Jake, I don't know what that is, but if it's two names, I'm sorry if I'm not representing right. John, going to try to keep you from sounding old. Everybody under the age of 35.
So hold on. I'm 31.
Connor is, Haley is, B-Gun is. Well, B-Gun's a bad example. Everybody under the age of 35 has two teams at least, and I missed that one I told you before, that they root for in every sport. You're sounding old on this one. Love the show, just don't want you to sound like a dinosaur. And I said, bull crap. Love you too, but bull crap.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's
not true.
That is,
what does he get?
I've never heard that in my life.
So then he says, everybody, he goes, go out in Fishtown anytime. You'll find a guy who claims to be a big Eagles fan rolling in with his Oakland A's hat or his Brooklyn Nets gear. He said everybody has teams that they associate with, gear that they sport, and teams that they rep. So is he talking clothing? Because I said to him, I asked for verification. I said, are you talking clothing? Because I can sort of I don't agree with that.
Right.
But
yeah,
you know?
like I live in Fishtown. Like, so this is right up my alley. I'm in the age range. I live in that part of the city. I have a good buddy who wears he'll wear a San Diego Padres hat because he likes the hat. He has a old Florida Marlins hat because he likes the hat. He's not a huge baseball guy, but when it comes to his rooting interest,
the old Marlins hat.
Phillies
It's a cool hat. The old Marlins hat.
Yeah, some people just wear the
but
stuff.
that's style. He's talking about being fans of two teams. Like I have, me and my old college roommate Chris. We did instead of a jersey swap, we did a hat swap. I forget what hat he got of mine, but I got a Vegas Raiders hat from him before they went back to Vegas. Like they were still the Oakland Raiders. It was a freaking sweet hat. Like I liked it. Wore it to a party, backwards, right? Like because it was white and it was a cool looking hat, right? But I'm not a Raiders fan.
I'm shocked you wear it. Now, to me, that's another thing as far as.
Oh, that's different.
I would never sport. I've never sported another team's gear, and I had given Ricky Bo the $10,000 challenge. Joking around. I'm like, look, I have jerseys from all the teams. I lived in a city for 2 decades.
Yeah,
all the jerseys. Every team presented me with a jersey when I left, and I'm like, nope, not going on. Now, Liv, I said you can have them for your house someday. Your name's on the back.
Yeah.
You can have them for your house. They are put away, folded nicely. I would never sport Hawks and Braves and all those kind of things. You don't do it.
Now, I wore the Mariners jersey, but that's my man Ichiro.
Yeah,
it's your team.
He's my favorite
I have a
player.
Lindsey Williams Dolphin jersey from back when I was a kid. Like before that, I have a number 8 Kobe jersey from when I was real young, before 01. But it happens.
But you're not a.
So if you went to, you're telling me this. Now here's where I'm going to call him on it. You're telling me if the Lakers were in town,
no,
you wouldn't have worn that
not.
Kobe's jersey? I'm going to give you the dog side eye.
John, I was 6.
No, I'm going to.
You can have favorite players when you're a kid.
You can have favorite players. So if you're talking about gear, that's foreign to me too.
I know that's foreign to you,
but it's a foreign thing to me.
I'm not
but
sitting here saying
this guy's telling me that people.
Mariners.
This guy's telling me that people have 2 teams.
Yeah, no, that's dumb.
Now, other
that's
than Brendan Gunn.
Yeah, but
who is absolutely
college. Forget the
college.
But
he's also though. I mean, he's
a Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles fan to death.
But you don't know what he.
No, I do know that.
But nobody with that kind of.
My man's sneaking into Citizens Bank Park for a playoff game.
Underneath that is a great story.
He's a diehard Phillies fan.
That is a great story.
So this whole
he's also a criminal
under 35 thing,
under 35, 2 teams. That's absolutely false. It's not true.
Now, I would understand, I told you, I loved Marvin Harrison and Priest Holmes when I was a kid.
I can't imagine.
I loved them as players.
Did you wear their gear?
I had a Priest Holmes jersey. I played Madden. I played NFL Street, right? And Priest Holmes was in the video game, and I was able to wreck people with it. So I fell in love with Priest Holmes. But I'm not sitting here saying, go Chiefs.
No.
Go Birds.
Under the age of 35, he's so bold about it.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, I know my buddy Jack was a Bengals fan for like 5 minutes as a kid because he liked the colors and Chad Johnson. But he grew up. He became an adult.
Like, I mean, when you're 35, you don't do, like, it's nonsense.
So when he says under the age of 35, all right, fine, maybe somebody that's 7.
I got to tell you, I have
But like under the age of 30, I would say, instead of under the age of 35, how about we do between the ages of 18 and 35, there is nobody that has 2 teams.
I've got my cousins. I've got my nephews. I don't buy it.
No.
I don't buy it.
Now, there are some that do have 2 teams.
No, there are, but they are weasels, and we should absolutely throw them out of our families.
Yeah.
They sit at the kids' table at Thanksgiving. They should not be, like, welcomed into the bosom.
Now, the other thing I don't like is the person that is, like, a Mets fan for 25 years growing up in Philadelphia, and then the Phillies are good, and they go, I want to be a Phillies fan now. I missed out. Like, whoa.
No, you didn't.
You can't go a quarter. You can't go a quarter of your life repping a team, and now all of a sudden you want to jump ship.
It's a disgrace on 2 fronts. One, that you want to jump on board and bogart all the success. Another, that you're betraying the team that you rooted for.
Well, and you clearly rooted against one team for years, and now all of a sudden you're going to root for them and
get out
and not have warm and fuzzies if the other team starts doing well again.
Get out.
I'm curious. There was a Mets fan that called me and Ant years ago. He wanted to transition to be a Phillies fan. Now that they got Juan Soto, is he still anti-Mets?
All the Mets fans can transition all they want.
All right, coming up next, we continue to check our text line on today's topics. Also, there was a report of what could happen after this long Sixers season comes to an end. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic's Knockout Tournament is your chance to shoot.
The final hour of Kincade Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
So I got a tweet in response to the two-team conversation. Alton checks in.
I love that name.
Alton Custis.
Oh my gosh, what a great
dude. He should be in one of your shows.
He should be on The Young and the Restless. Alton Custis.
That's a freaking awesome name.
I'm the newest attorney here in Genoa City.
I want to meet you just because of your name.
Alton Custis. What a great name.
So he says that guy's DM is definitely wrong. I'm 31.
Okay.
And it's Philly for everything. However, he says, I do agree with the favorite player, though. He has an OKC Russell Westbrook jersey.
Okay, so there is a standard on now. That's foreign to me.
That might be the age thing.
But here's where the age thing comes into play, because you guys all had options to do that when you were kids. We did not.
Right.
We had Modell's. Modell's was around.
Gotta go to Modell's.
Yeah. So we had Modell's like in the Springfield Mall, and Modell's in the Springfield Mall. When I'm telling you, it was Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers. It wasn't, here's Miami Heat, here's Lakers, here's Yankees. They would have in their hat section.
Different hats.
Some hats.
Probably Dodgers, Yankees.
Like that. Yeah. No, they had an NFL too. Baseball and football hats. But it was pretty much the entire store was, when I was young, that was the way it was.
Or if you go to Rally House now, it's Eagles, Villanova, Penn State.
And that's one of the reasons I love Rally House. I don't have to sift through the garbage.
Damn right, man.
I'm in there and enjoying all of it. I'm telling you, their Phillies hat wall and their Eagles hat wall at Rally House is stupid.
Right.
I mean, it is. There are so many. Christina goes, I found it overwhelming. She wanted a new hat. I find it overwhelming. Like, there's so many choices. I'm like, then just take your time.
That's what makes it great.
There's no rush. They don't rush you out. They don't go, you've been in the Rally House.
I do still remember, I got the Marvin Harrison and Priest Holmes jersey. It was a buy one, get one deal at like a superstore in Florida. I was visiting my grandparents.
Okay. And one of those outlet places?
Yeah, and it was a wall. I mean, like, wall of just NFL jerseys. It was it was a freaking awesome store.
Yeah, my Ricky Williams jersey came from Minnesota.
There's one of them right outside of the Disney area.
Oh, okay.
That has that.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about every inch of a warehouse wall covered with jerseys.
But back in the day.
Now, they're knockoffs, I'm sure.
They were knockoffs. And
some 7-year-old kid over in China is putting them together.
Buy one, get one for $50.
Oh, whereas that's what
nowadays it's probably like at least $100. So, yeah, there's that. All right, there was a report yesterday, by the way, from Sam Amico, who writes for Hoops Wire. He covers the NBA.
Okay.
He is reporting that the Sixers, according to sources, will attempt to trade Paul George this summer.
Shocking.
Not shocked at all. Look, I mean, when the Kevin Durant stuff starts popping off already.
Don't get me excited about that.
No, I'm not going to.
Because that would get me excited.
But that is a money works sort of trade.
Right.
And like it's been pretty clear that Kevin Durant wants out. And they put inside the story from Sam Amico that Keith Pompey did indeed report they tried to trade Paul George at the deadline. The Warriors one I knew. I didn't know about the Hawks.
I did not know about the Hawks either, and I can't believe
apparently
the Hawks
came down to the wire, and then the deal never happened.
Maybe the thinking. Those same teams might be back at the table this summer
for more,
and Phoenix will be in.
Right.
So could be a good move on Daryl's part.
But just a little update on Paul George, who, by the way, is being evaluated some more, and you just wait until the news comes out that he's done for the season.
He sacrificed his podcast, though, to really put his full focus on.
The second it's announced that he's done, is he back on the pod?
I think he's got to be, right?
I don't know.
What else is he working toward? Are they still making that push for the playoffs? All right, what do we got on the text line, Connor?
All right, let me go ahead and pull it up here because we have a lot of people checking in on that Phillies conversation from earlier on in the show. And someone needs some clarification on one of the things John brought up. So Jeff in Lumberton brings up the conversation about the 90-game benchmark. And he said, John, if you say it will be an abysmal showing if the Phillies win less than 90 games, but the regular season wins are empty calories, then what does it matter?
Well, no, that doesn't. Well, then that's then we agree. I mean, but you got to win. This team wins 90 games. I'm telling you this. If they don't win 90 games, Rob Thompson's packing.
Right,
he's
but
gone.
He's saying,
this team doesn't go to the playoffs. Rob Thompson is so gone. It's not
Well,
even.
no, but like if it's 87 wins, but they
No.
make the playoffs.
If it's 87 wins, he still has to then win in the playoffs.
Yeah, but
he is under a mandate.
The point
I'm
he's
telling
trying
you
to make
right
is
now.
the empty calories.
It's
Yeah,
empty. It is empty calories.
So if it's empty calories, why does it matter if they win 89 or
Because
91?
this team with that thing, there should be an absolute benchmark of you're playing mediocre ball. You're playing 6 games over 500. Honestly, you're getting 6 more wins than the Midland mark. If you go with this roster, with the amount of money that John Middleton's spending, absolutely. It is empty calories. Just get there, but get there with a respectable number. You've got to be in there, plus it positions you. It sets you up to play more games, even though one of the greatest lies ever told seems to be the Citizens Bank Park. Well, that's the hardest place to play in the offseason.
It's weird.
not.
I'm hearing Bill Colarulo, but he's normally not on until 10.
No, it's the clear thing right there. It doesn't. If you are, if Rob Thompson,
That's not the
first
argument.
of all, no, is the whole thing is this team is under mandate. 90 wins doesn't mean jack. The best season they've had, you said, was 86 when they went to the World Series.
When they went to the World Series, they won
86 or 87. 87.
86, I believe.
Okay, that's the best they've had, and they got hot. And they weren't even hot down the stretch the last 2 weeks. They backed into the playoffs.
So if they win 89 games and then they go on a run in the postseason, then it wasn't abysmal that they won less than 90, right?
No, it is they're not. If that happens, how about this? If that happens, you get his name, and I'll got one for you. I will buy you both a jersey. Okay?
Okay.
Nice.
Phillies win less than 90. Phillies win. So what do I get?
I don't think anyone's fighting your prediction.
No,
It
so
just
what do I
feels
get? No, I'm just saying to you is it's not. There's not. This team is not going to win something because if they don't show that they can sustain success, and they don't show that they are a much different team than they've been the last few years, and that means 90 wins should be in their back
hold on a
pocket.
second. I will say
Yeah.
they did sustain success in 23.
To what? 90 wins.
91.
Yeah, but
They got 91
But
wins.
they didn't have like the ebbs and
But
flows.
they had
in
91
23.
wins.
Yeah.
I already told you. 90 and 72, I think is a fine season. I think it's a fine season.
Okay.
But that should be the absolute. And I'm going to tell you right now, people aren't saying it. Rob Thompson is on a hot seat from his owner.
Strongly disagree.
He is on a hot. He will be out the door. If they do not advance to an NLCS, I think he's gone.
Completely
NLCS.
disagree.
I think
he's gone.
I think the Bunsen burner gets turned on come playoff time, and you see what happens.
If they don't win, if
Bunsen
they do,
burners turn off really quick.
I'll say it right now. If he's not in the Final Four, he's not here next year.
Okay. Coming up next, a little bit different, a little bit of a different topic than what we normally do here. We'll obviously check our text line on today's topics, but there were 2 wild college stories that I read about yesterday.
Spring break, girls gone wild stories?
No,
Okay.
but there was a wild spring break story. You see the
Hey, don't get confused.
what's her name? Bonnie?
Yes. Let's
Yeah.
go to break, huh?
You mentioned Minnesota earlier. The baseball team? I have a Minnesota basketball team story and a UNLV football team story today, which could lead to bigger issues around college football. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles add to the defense. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. The Birds made a couple defensive signings in free agency yesterday, bringing in edge rusher Josh Uche and cornerback Adoree Jackson. And those new pieces on defense are going to have to integrate in Vic Fangio's system. But the good news is Vic Fangio, well, he's an expert teacher, and Barrett Brooks reminded us of that yesterday on The Best Show Ever.
When you have guys that come in and it's a teacher, and that's exactly what Vic Fangio was, that is a huge something that we're not talking about. Vic Fangio's ability to go out there and get these young guys playing at a high level.
The Eagles also added to the tight end room yesterday, signing Harrison Bryant. There's still more work to do in the offseason, so we'll keep you updated on the news surrounding the Birds. Flyers took down the Lightning 4-3 in a shootout. Bobby Brink, 2 goals in the game. Sixers play the Pacers tonight. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. That game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
Touchdown! Saquon Barkley!
9:26 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Mike Missanelli show coming your way at 10 o'clock. Nice to hang out with Bill and Ray during the commercial break. Our man Brendan Petrilli, who you mentioned earlier, almost wore his Orioles Hawaiian shirt just for the hell of it.
Another one of those fine turncoats.
But you got to check him out next time you see him. He's got an awesome hat on. It's a Philly spring training. He was just down at Clearwater.
It's like that Ricky Bowe hat.
No,
it's not that one.
No, it's just
which, by the way,
training.
was a great looking hat.
I like the look. I just don't.
But I hate it.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree with the.
I don't like it.
It was a Phillies/Eagles hat.
Becoming Eagles hat. Yeah, I don't like it.
Now, I'll ask you this. I am okay. I do it. I'm okay with wearing like an Eagles hat and like a Phillies shirt.
No,
as long as it
that's
matches.
Delco tuxedo? Or
yeah. But there are people that are against it. Amy's anti.
No, I'm anti that.
Oh, you are anti?
Yeah, I'm anti.
Why?
It's just a preference. Why are you for it?
If it matches, it matches.
Why are you for it?
Because I rep. I represent
you
the
can
city.
rep, but I mean, I understand. But you're represented be like wearing around like your Wegmans hat, your Acme hat.
Big supermarket guy.
Yeah, but they're not
mall.
competitors.
No, I mean they are competitors.
Kind of.
They are competitors. Are you kidding me? You don't think the Sixers?
I know they want your ticket sales. I know.
You don't think the Sixers compete with the Eagles? You don't think you've seen enough of that? You don't think the Eagles love to upstage the Phillies?
Yeah, of course.
The Eagles love upstaging the Phillies.
But, come on, man. They're all together.
Yeah, they're all in it together. Yeah,
all right. I have two college stories for you.
Okay.
Sports related. So you mentioned the Minnesota Golden Gophers baseball team earlier today in today's headlines with the 5 straight home runs. 5
That's
straight
so
home runs
wild. That is
allowed.
so wild.
5 straight home runs allowed and all missiles. Like they weren't cheap home runs. Rough week for the Gophers.
It is your Gophers.
The Golden Gophers also had their college basketball season come to an end. They lost to Northwestern in their conference tournament, and they finished the season 15-17.
Bad.
And I don't know where the tournament. Oh, it was in Indianapolis. So they lose their game to Northwestern.
Okay.
They get on the plane to get back to Minnesota.
Okay.
And their head coach, Ben Johnson, not Ben Johnson of the NFL, Ben Johnson of Minnesota Golden Gophers basketball, goes to his office, and the AD's there, Mark Coyle.
You mean when he he's there like when they land?
At midnight.
Okay, that happened to Lane Kiffin at Tennessee, by the way.
I think you can't wait till the next day.
No.
Hey, man, they're gone. They're gone.
That happened to Lane Kiffin at Tennessee.
And I don't agree with that one either.
When he was leaving, they caught wind of him leaving, type of thing.
The university posted the news on the website at 1:07. They posted it on social media at 1:19 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
He was fired around 12 something. I imagine they already knew what was coming.
But in the middle of the night, they have to put.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So
that's bad.
I think
that's bad form.
I think that's a bad look. And look,
I think it's bad form.
And I think that's a bad look because if you're the next head coach,
you're thinking these guys are going to the plane's barely going to land and they're going to fire me.
Go to bed early.
That's terrible.
Come on, they can't fire you if you're asleep.
Yeah, you're right. Don't go to the office. Go right from the airport to your house
tonight, boys.
But yeah, look, he had a bad tenure, 56 and 71.
Oh no, he did.
But still, I think that's a bad look. Now here's an even worse look.
Okay.
So Dan Mullen, not to be
Dan Mullen,
the Philadelphia to add to the S at the last name.
Okay.
He's the head coach of UNLV.
Right.
Now, in the almost one full year of our show, this is the second time we are bringing up UNLV football. If you remember, UNLV recruited a quarterback and offered him money through the NIL fund.
Yes.
They never paid up.
They did not.
So the kid transferred.
And people were like killing him for it.
Because they were like 5-1 or whatever, and he quit. And I don't blame him because if you get hired by any job in life,
and they promise you we're going to pay you $100,000,
and they're like, just kidding, you're an intern, you're a non-paid intern.
No,
you're going to leave.
You're going to.
So Dan Mullen, a couple of years ago, was hired to a 5-year, $17.5 million contract.
Okay.
He just finished his first 2 seasons. He's about to enter his 3rd season. They have already informed him that they do not have the finances to continue to pay him after this upcoming season.
What? Like, you mean, wait a minute. That can't be true.
They are begging donors to start sending money so that they can continue to pay their head coach.
Well, he's going to sue them. I mean, they have to pay him the money. They have to pay him. They can't just say, we're sorry. You know that, we hired you here.
Yeah.
We can't honor what we agreed to pay.
But sorry, the next 3 years we will not have the money to continue to
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
And so when I read this article, I did some more research. Apparently, this is going to continue to be a problem across the sport of college football.
Why?
Now, your Alabamas, your Georgias, they're fine.
Okay.
Right? But there are programs that are trying to get recruits because of the NIL, and they've promised money. UNLV is just the first one we're reading the story about. Apparently, according to a lot of stories, this is going to continue to happen, and there are a lot of collegiate programs, especially now that they're doing the what did they announce that they're going to start doing? The revenue fund. I had Temple's going to start doing
like NIL.
it. Yeah. They might run out of cash.
Okay, that's crazy.
And if you
first off, NIL isn't paid by the university. It's
right.
paid by boosters. It's paid by advertisers. It's paid by everything else.
But if you
what does that have to do with anything?
If you start, there's a concern that if they start hiring these coaches that might be a little bit bigger names and demand a little bit more money, that they won't be able to continue to pay them.
Okay, that's incredible to me.
So UNLV is the first school we're hearing about. This could become a problem in college football. That's insane.
Well, I think the kid from UNLV is just a terrible. That's a terrible story.
You're lying to a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, right? Matthew Sluka.
You're lying. You're saying here's what we're willing to pay you to come here, and that's what they're saying now to kids. This is what we're willing to pay you to come to our university. And then to screw them over like that, that's just...
Now, Vegas is a different story because whomst among us has not gone to Vegas and in a couple days or weeks or years you say, hey, I got a little less money than I thought I was going to have. I'm going to give you an OU one. But I don't know. Listen, the college game's changing, and the way money has to be managed now is significantly different and changing quickly than it ever has been for that sport. And I'd imagine there's a lot of institutions and teams that don't know how to handle their business the way that it needs to be now. So this is part of the downside of the learning curve that's happening with all of the changes.
Yeah, they got to figure out how to make it work. But, it's crazy that you can, here's your contract, sir. Oh, hey, that contract we gave you?
Yeah, we're not able to give you that.
They're troublesome in the sport of college
they'll be lawyers.
Football. Obviously, Bama and Georgia, they're fine. But, smaller schools might not be.
To your empty calories discussion from before.
Yes.
So Mark DMs, and he says, like Connor's family, he's a long-suffering Twins fan.
Okay.
He said, I've seen my team go to the postseason 10 times this century, averaging over 90 wins while doing it.
Yeah.
I've seen them win 4 playoff games in 10 trips to the postseason. 4. That's every series.
A lot of them
and
are.
He says, I understand. He goes, your empty calories argument. He goes, the regular season wins don't mean anything. The 76ers, remember they used to tout the 50-win thing?
Yeah.
Well, now we never have to hear it again.
No, that's done.
The 50 wins. It's a 50-win season. You better win 50 games. It's not an accomplishment.
Right. No, I'm not fighting you on the empty calories thing. I'm just saying calling regular season wins empty calories and then setting a mark on what is abysmal and not based on regular season wins.
I'm going to tell you right now,
it's unfair.
They're not going to be. Well, first of all, if you have 89, tell me right now what you believe. Now, this could all go crazy. What do you believe 89 wins would get the Phillies?
You're one of the wild card teams.
Where do you think it would get them in their own division?
Second, probably.
So you think second? So you think one of the teams is finishing below one of
I think the Mets over under is 9.5. I think they finish under.
Okay, Phillies is
they're 90.5.
And they're
the same number.
So you say Phillies
I say
over,
92 wins. Yeah.
Mets under, Braves.
I think the Braves win the division this year, as long as their bodies.
Well, I don't know.
Intact.
I got to tell you, I don't know how the Braves win the division with that pitching staff.
They got 2 really, really good arms.
No,
Wellenbach.
Yeah, I got
and
it.
If Strider's healthy, they're still a problem.
There you go. There's the issue.
Speaking of the Twins, 2019. How do you think we would have handled this? 2019. That's when Kepler. That's the last good year for Max Kepler with the Twins. 101-61 was their season record. 101 wins.
101.
They got swept in the first round of the playoffs.
By the Yanks, right?
Oh my gosh!
They lost to the Yanks in
didn't
the
they have
wild card.
a string of going to the postseason and getting?
They had like 20 years
Nothing.
where they hadn't won a postseason game.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wild. All right, we got another segment left. We'll check our text line. And, of course, don't forget we have the Key 3 all coming your way next year on 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you. So text us at 610-632. few minutes, and we will get to some text messages as well. I'm about to embark on vacation, Johnny.
I'm excited for you because it's such a wonderful time. And by the way, I know you're always generous. that area was crippled by the storms last year.
Yeah.
So if you're heading down Lake Andrew, go spend some spring training time in Clearwater, the most of the restaurants, most of the bars, most of the little shops, they were closed for months.
Yeah, so I'm hitting up. I'm going to try to hit up every spot while I'm down there. By the way, it's my wife's first time down there, and it's not that Cooper really cares. It's Cooper's first time down there. So I'm going to take her to all like the spots that I love. But there are some that are still closed, and it breaks my heart.
It is hard.
My man Vince from Philly Sports Trips, who's down there, he's down there now actually with Peter and Stan.
They're doing really well.
I'm gonna go down with Vince's second trip, and he was like, "Hey man, can't wait to go get breakfast at one of the establishments." I was like, "Dude, I hate to break it to you, he's still closed," and he had no idea. And there's a lot of places that are still impacted by it.
You got to think of it this way. The average place that was at sea level, so like along the beach, those beachfront streets, might have had as much as 8 to 10 inches of sand.
Yeah, sand.
In their facility.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to help them out, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
So
that's why I got a couple extra beers everywhere I went when I was down there.
There you go, Connor. You're a
Connor,
you're a selfless guy.
It was for them. It's for the community.
There's the Temple Tough Fund, and then there's the Connor Thomas Fund, where he helps out. He helps out Florida. But I will be chiming in with you guys on a daily basis.
We'll hear from you down there.
I'll be giving you some spring training reports.
I want an eye on things.
Well,
I want an eye on things.
So I'm excited for something. I have not told you about this just yet.
What's that?
So Monday,
okay,
I'm going to be doing a Q&A with Charlie Manuel.
That's awesome.
Tuesday, I'm doing a Q&A with Boa and Jason Worth, which
okay,
I'm really
that's
excited
a great
for.
time.
So Monday, one of the questions I will ask Charlie is on your behalf.
Are you going to ask him?
The balancing of what you believe is the best lineup versus what the players may feel most comfortable with.
Yes. And also, too, ask Charlie about calling out players that are not doing things the right way, why it doesn't happen.
Now, I imagine,
in today's baseball.
I imagine he's going to be very careful because he is still a part of the organization.
He'll answer it, though. But he had a reputation for doing it.
Yeah.
Because he actually understood that you got to call people.
Right.
You got to hold them accountable.
But so I'm doing that. So I'm going to talk to you guys Monday around 8:30. That happens at 9. So Tuesday I'll be able to report back to you. Not only because I'm going to the game Monday, I'll be able to give you some spring training updates, but I'll also be able to tell you what Charlie had to say about one of your bigger concerns with the Phillies lineup.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear.
Connor, you have a specific question? I got 30 minutes with Charlie. I got like 90 minutes with Worth and Boa. So,
Yeah.
Give me some content there, guy.
I mean, plenty of stuff that you can ask him, but my number one thing would be, what would the changing around of the lineup do for the potential of the offense? Like, the shifting pieces really make a difference on the ceiling of an offense.
Okay, that's fair. I will make sure to ask Charlie both of those questions.
And ask him how he's doing from us.
Absolutely.
He's doing good. He looks good.
I'll say Connor still talks about the time he picked you up from the hotel. And
favorite chauffeur.
Did you bring him here or FanFest?
Here, back, FanFest, back. I've driven him a couple times. I still text him happy birthday. I love Charlie.
Such a great dude.
I love that. All right, what do we got on the text line about any of our topics this morning?
Charlie from Clearwater checks in.
Charlie Manuel?
He just sends the letter I.
Oh, yeah. Those tweets are the best.
He's great. All right, we have a check-in here on the Phillies baseball conversation, and this fan's super hyped for Phil's baseball, hoping Trey Turner steps it up. Would love to see Painter at some point as well. I have high hopes for the season. I definitely have the buzz.
Now, here's the thing. Here's where I will respond to this texter. I say, all right, you're hyped up for the season. I love that. I am too. I'm hyped up for the season. Can't wait to see if Turner steps up. So are you hyped up, or are you like are you a little concerned? Because let's face it, like, Trey Turner's been, for the most part, in terms of the money, a disappointment. He had some.
He's been a disappointment.
He had a great stretch last year. A very good.
We're talking about paying a guy that, and we're talking about a great stretch.
Don't the great stretch.
No,
you did
I'm
have
going
a great
to.
Stretch.
No, I'm going to.
And that's unfair.
It's not. No, it isn't. When you pay somebody that, we're not talking about. Let's celebrate a great stretch. His first year was a disaster. He is the worst shortstop in baseball since he's been here.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Fielding.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
He's the worst shortstop in baseball. Connor, stop telling me it's not.
He did.
You have to put Fielding. He was the all-star starter at shortstop for the National League
because of his bat.
He batted 290,
and he got and that's voted in by fans.
He had
in a
over
stadium
20
that does
home runs.
And he is a guy who is a butcher in the field. Should not be a shortstop. If 2 years of data isn't enough, you got a declining defensive asset. Then that's a problem.
By the way, Stretch is unfair. He played well. May he got hurt. Remember he had the hammy?
It was a hammy.
Hammy.
And then after the hammy, he had that.
No, he played really well.
Really well.
In June, July, he had a good month. Then
it plummeted. But then he got hot again in September, though.
Yes, he did.
He got hot again in September. But
So
that's not what you're. But that's not what you're paying somebody that kind of money for.
Baseball is about peaks and valleys.
Dude, stop.
What do you mean? Who goes out and hits 300 every month?
No, but they don't have the valleys that Trey Turner has had.
They absolutely do.
No, they do not go for months at a time. They don't have to have a standing ovation for guys like
That's 2 years ago, John. Stop it.
He's only been here 2 years.
Okay,
How are you going to sugarcoat this?
We're talking about last year.
He has been a disappointment. Capital D. Disappointment.
Okay, overall. But last year, he actually had a good season.
He's been a capital D disappointment.
Can you admit he had a good year last year?
No, he's had a good year. Yes, he did have a good year.
Right,
he's been a disappointment.
He's 1 for 2.
Far underpaying. Far underplaying
He's batting
what he's
500.
paying. Far.
All right, what else you got on the text line?
All right.
This is going to be a fun season. About
You guys
Trey
sugarcoat.
Turner.
My God.
Trey Turner, the worst player in the history
I'm
of
gonna get
baseball.
no.
Colby from Central PA checks in, says, on the Phillies, I'm kind of in the middle. First, they didn't really do a lot in the offseason as far as offense. It seems they're switching up the batting order, which could be good. But I've seen this team get really hot, and I've seen them go ice cold. Even though the team's aging, I still think they're capable of great things. They have to show me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely capable of winning. Like, they're going to win 90-some games as long as people stay healthy, right?
Yeah, unless the only way this team isn't winning 90 is if there's crippling injury.
Like a catastrophic injury.
Correct.
Like, they're gonna,
catastrophic multiple injuries.
Yeah.
Like we're talking Wheeler, we're talking Harper.
Yeah, like we've seen Harper miss time, and they've still made the playoffs each time. Like,
correct.
They're going to, the Philadelphia Phillies will be in the 2025 Major League playoffs. They will be. Question is, what happens when they get there? Like,
Exactly.
You know.
And guess what? That's a question for August and
But
September.
that's why, Connor, there are people that are beginning to turn toward the wake me up when.
Right. And when Zach Wheeler throws a no-hitter in July, you're going to tell me you're not excited because the offense might go quiet in October?
I don't believe those people. I don't believe it for a second, the people that say, that, I'm just tuning in then. They'll be watching.
But that's the casual
They'll
fan.
be watching, and they are. That makes you
again,
a casual.
I saw Embiid drop 70, and it was ho-hum for people.
There you go.
So, we'll see how it plays out. All right, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Johnny, happy Football Friday, Championship Friday, and maybe for today, a Phillies Friday.
A little bit of Phillies Friday, 13 days out from the opener.
Yeah, we are less than 2 weeks away, which is unbelievable. I mean, thank you, Philadelphia Eagles, for a couple of things. For the Super Bowl and
we appreciate
happiness
that.
and joy, but also the drama that has sort of began since the new league year started. And what I'm trying to get at is you brought us to opening day pretty much. So we asked you today, kind of a 1A, 1B sort of question. 1A is, do you have buzz for the Philadelphia Phillies, which is less than 2 weeks away. Opening day is 13 days from now. And if you don't, this is the 1B sort of question if you did answer no for part 1. Is it because of the Eagles Super Bowl hangover that you're still riding the high of the Birds, and right after the season ended for the Eagles, which was on February 9th, all of a sudden it's parade day, combine.
Which was a month ago. 4 weeks. You've had 4 weeks to recover from the parade.
Trades, free agency, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're still in the middle of the first week of free agency because it just started on Wednesday. It was just 2 days ago. So is it because of an Eagles Super Bowl hangover, or did the Phillies do this to themselves? With the past failures, collapses, disappointing ends.
You know the answer.
2022 was disappointing, not failure.
2022 was absolutely not a failure.
Yeah, it was just a disappointing end.
2023 was abysmal.
The failure, or I would say collapse 23.
Collapse.
Last year was failure. Losing in the first round, the New York Mets is straight up failure after you won 95 games.
Only year I would put the word failure with is last year.
Yeah, I mean, it was
like
hard.
2023 was painful, but you're in the NLCS Game 7.
Right. So you
can't paint that season as a
You went disappointment, collapse to failure. 22, 23,
So in other words,
24.
on the escalator of life, we're going down.
Yeah.
And remember, the
is
highest
that part of it?
There's no buzz. There is usually much more like chatter, and I think that the Eagles have a ton to do with that. But once the parade's over, you have a team with like the second highest payroll in baseball and all these things going for you, all this star talent, and I believe people sort of need the paddles. need to be jump-started on their excitement.
There will be Phillies fans that are doing what you did with the Sixers, what people did with the Sixers.
Okay.
All right, well, prove it to me in the playoffs. So the Phillies had a historic start to their season last year. If they did that again this year, I think people will have fun because it's a nightly watch. But I do believe there's going to be a large percentage of Phillies fans that are going, this is great, but it's the same lineup. Are they going to strike out? Are they going to have a bad approach? How many times have you brought up the bad approach?
No question.
And you question the hitting coach. And you question Bryce Harper. And you question leadership of the team.
Yes.
It's the same team.
It is the same team. That's why.
So that's why I think there will be a percentage of people that go, all right, wake me up.
Okay, now here's the problem. With those things, when you have a good team that has already shown you that they can win in the postseason and that they can have those moments, I consider you a miserable fan. That's a miserable fan. If you're a Sixers fan and you have that attitude, you say the same thing, I absolutely agree with you.
But that started
100%
that started years ago.
No, and they deserved to it.
Right.
They deserved it. They haven't gotten out of the second round.
Right, but now you're starting to see the steps back, right?
Right.
Not making it as far in the playoffs. There's a lot of question about this lineup and how it's constructed. So, if you did say no, that you don't feel the same buzz that you usually do for the Phillies, is it the Super Bowl hangover or is it a hangover from past failures? All right, that is the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show. By the way, we have a couple more minutes left for today's keyword net. NET for the Sixers Knockout Tournament, March 26th. Thanks to our friends over at Barlow Chevrolet in Delran for honest pricing and dedicated service. You got to check them out. Barlow Chevrolet in Delran. NET, contest page, 97.5 The Fanatic.
By the way, a little bad work on me. It's Pi Day today. We haven't brought it up yet, so anyone who celebrates.
All right, can I tell you guys an extremely embarrassing story that
you don't know Pi?
No, 3.14159 is as furthest I can go.
That's very good. That's as far as I go, too.
So, as you guys may have known, I'm not the brightest individual.
No.
Shocker.
So you have a lot of other charming qualities, though.
So I had a geometry in, I believe it was sophomore year of high school, and I was not doing well. I wasn't failing, but like, I was worried for my next test grade.
Geometry, 10th grade?
Yeah, it was hard, dude.
I think that's when I had it.
Yeah, I had geometry 10th grade. So, to get extra credit, Mr. Nicewinder, who was my teacher, on Pi Day, he said, you can do a skit or something.
A skit?
So I wrote to the tune of Imagine All the Numbers.
Imagine all the numbers.
And I wrote a song.
One of the stupidest songs of all time.
It was for 5 more points to your final grade, which that goes a long way.
Oh, my gosh.
He liked it so much. He said, if you let me keep this so I can like show it to classes in the future, I will add like 10 more points to
Oh,
your
my
final
God. You
grade.
let him keep it?
Yeah.
That's
Is
a great
he still
thing.
working there?
Maybe. No, I think he retired.
No.
Retired.
We're going to look this up because we need the Andrew Salciunas Pie video.
No, it wasn't. No, he kept the lyrics.
Okay. We'll take the lyrics, too.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I got 10 points to my final grade.
Okay, why I got confused on that, and I just get the Liv Kincade checking.
Oh, that's big.
She had geometry in 8th grade.
Well, she was smart.
Like, I mean, no, but now I think, what I'm thinking is I said to you 10th grade? Because I'm thinking of just being a parent, seeing my kid go through it. She had geometry in 8th grade.
John, we're idiots.
No, but maybe as a generation, I don't know when I had
So
it.
8th grade was Algebra 1, freshman year was Algebra 2, then it was Geometry, then it was Trig, and then it was Calculus.
Pre-calc.
Correct.
Then
There you
calc.
go.
I did
Sister
honors
Mary
calc.
Elizabeth-
I skipped pre-calc.
Failed geometry, went to calc.
I was a late bloomer in math.
Sister Mary Elizabeth Kratzinger.
I still haven't
I don't
blue.
know how I passed. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partners, the Davis CPA Group. Love you, Ron Davis. You can fudge any number you want. But, hey, American Association for Cancer Research, he doesn't do that. I just wish he would. 97.5thefanatic.com/AACR. Cancer research saves lives.
All right, everybody have a great weekend.
And you have a great week.
Yeah, see you guys. I'm going to be in Clearwater. I will be checking in. Can't wait to talk to you
every day.
guys. I will only talk to you for 5 minutes every single day. But yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun in Clearwater. By the way, follow me along on my social stuff because I'll be posting like videos and
Have
stuff.
some fun.
Yeah.
No, really, have plenty of fun.
Everybody have a great weekend.
And lots of digital content.
Lots of beer. John and Connor will take care of business next week here on 97.5 The Fanatic.